like looks younger than she was.
The next day, she's like, hey, sorry, I'm in love with my dance partner. I was like, really?
I think Mike Dixon had an obsession with Rochelle Shatina. He either wanted her to suffer or he wanted her back.
What's going on?
Dr. Sonye was found shot and stabbed to death.
There are police cars everywhere. There's crime scene tape all around. It was just absolute chaos.
It was an in-and-out job, a hit.
But who would be out to get this nice, happy man about town? Rochelle Shatina felt she was being followed.
Is there somebody that's actually watching the doctor at Rochelle?
To me, it was like it had to be like an ex-girlfriend or something.
This is the oldest story in the book. This is revenge. This is pride. This is a huge whodunit.
This once convicted mastermind of the killer, he's out on the streets.
I cannot believe that they did this. Let's go get these guys.
Lubbock is on the high plains. When you fly in on an airplane, you can't help but notice the crop circles all around.
Lubbock is a blue-collar town. It's also a college town.
We get a lot of visitors from all over the world who live and die for Buddy Holly and just want to come and see where the music was made.
Going faster than a roller coaster.
The great thing about it is if you look west on any given night, the sunsets are absolutely to die for. It's God's wonderful painting dumped on all of us for our enjoyment every day.
You can't see better sunsets and sunrises and thunderstorms and everything else coming in. It's the people that drive it. There's no better people probably anywhere in the world.
And one of the people who embodied the spirit of Lubbock was Dr. Joseph Sonye. Dr. Joseph Sonye was a successful businessman, multi-millionaire.
Good-looking guy, sharp dresser, likes to have a good time. I think this is probably a guy that a lot of ladies would have their eye on in a hurry, and he was okay with that.
He was a single man in his late 40s with disposable income and an empty house.
He's living the single life and having a fun time.
So it wasn't about getting married.
I don't think he would have gotten married again. He never did the whole dating scene in college. He was married at 19. He married his high school sweetheart.
Find the kind of love that people write about.
We all loved Becky.
Merry Christmas, Dad.
My dad was the most supportive person in my life. My mom was our emotional support.
Merry Christmas.
He was the one who was going to push us to succeed, push us to follow our dreams.
Joseph and Becky broke up when, after 27 years of marriage, Becky up and left him for another man.
She was the only person that he had ever been with and ever dated and ever fallen in love with. When they got divorced, it was a shock to him. Everything he'd worked for in his life was evaporated in 1 second.
Becky remarried, and shockingly, her second husband murdered her and then killed himself.
It was just completely unfathomable. I mean, unimaginable. My dad, he came in after she was murdered, and he became like our guide about how to handle this tragedy.
So Dr. Sonye is 48 years old. He's single. He wants to do something new with his life. He doesn't know what, but he wants to live. And he takes a chance.
He went, I think on a lark, to a dance class. Ballroom and salsa and swing and things like that. And within this dance community, he found his confidence again. And as an added benefit, he started to meet beautiful single women who were also in his age range.
So that's how he was able to start dating
and
again.
He got the mojo back like that.
So how did you feel about the women that he dated?
The truth is, we liked most of them.
The Sonye children have a tradition with their dad. They all go to a Texas Tech game every fall together. But one year, Dr. Sonnier brings someone new.
She's blonde, she's tall, she's gorgeous.
It's the first date, and he's bringing you around his family, that's nerve-wracking for some people.
I mean, it was the first date. It really wasn't a big deal to me. I certainly wasn't nervous about it.
Rochelle Satina is a 52-year-old single mom of 4 boys.
She knew how to handle herself in a social situation around his sons. We're tough critics, and we gave her a thumbs up.
I thought that she was a very nice, lovely person. My dad and her seemed to have a really good time together.
Rochelle and Dr. Sonnier traveled to California to visit Dr. Sonnier's grandchildren, and that seemed to make her very happy.
Where's your head?
We had a great time. She came over to the house. We played with my kids. It couldn't have gone better.
I know what that's about. She's a smart girl, aren't you?
It seemed like a good match. They got along really well. He seemed to be having fun, and he was starting his life anew.
She was stunning. She kept in shape. I think they had an incredible sexual relationship. I think that they were very much enjoying each other.
So he was smitten.
He was.
Dr. Sonnier, he may have been a little cautious about, jumping to marriage right away.
It was constant pressure every step of the way following the LA trip.
In your mind, he was never going to put a ring on it.
That's right.
Some of the Sonnier kids have said that their dad told them that you were pressuring him for marriage.
Right, and I've heard that as well. All I can say is there was never a discussion about marriage.
So when they say she was pressuring Dad to marry me, that's not true.
That's not true. What I was looking for was a committed relationship with a good person, and that was it. That was absolutely it.
Dr. Sonnier, for Rochelle's 50th birthday, decided to take her on a really big adventure to Paris, the city of lights, where, love is everywhere.
And I told him to sit her down and have a direct conversation with her that Paris is not an engagement trip and that he is not going there to buy her a ring. And he said, do I really need to do that? I said, yes.
It was a birthday gift for my 50th birthday. I was just over the moon. It was really a dream come true.
You guys put a lock on a bridge.
It was a love lock. Joseph wrote his name on it, and I wrote my name on it.
It's romantic.
It's very romantic.
What do you think about when you think about that moment?
That moment, it was very, very special. It locked in that love that we felt at that moment. For me, the tradition is you write your names on the locks and you put it on the bridge and you throw the key into the Seine River, and that locks in the moment forever.
Rochelle talked about that moment on the Paris Bridge as if their love would last forever. But a few weeks later, the unthinkable happened.
Police were first alerted to something terribly awry having happened at Dr. Sonnier's home when a landscaper that he had for his home called 911.
Evil followed me straight to Joseph's door. And like it or not, evil followed me right there.
What's the emergency?
Somebody has broken a window in the back, and the doctor did not show up for work today.
On a hot July morning, Joseph Sonnier was found dead in his home.
Oh no!
Ma'am, what's going on?
His landscaper found him shot and stabbed multiple times.
There's a bullet that was laying on the ground. I need somebody to hurry.
Yes, ma'am.
Zach Johnson, a homicide detective with the Lubbock Police, heads to the scene. Dr. Sonia's neighborhood, what kinds of crimes would typically happen there?
In my experience, it's been residential burglaries, prowler calls, suspicious persons, stuff of that nature.
It's not murders.
Not murders, not violent crime at all.
But this neighborhood had to be freaked out by this killer.
They were very scared because this doesn't happen, especially to somebody that's so esteemed.
When I first covered this case, Detective Johnson took me to the crime scene. As soon as Zach Johnson walked into the house, he knew immediately that this was not a robbery gone bad.
This is Dr. Sonia's house. There was artwork in the home. There were very expensive pieces of furniture. There was iPads, all kinds of things just kind of laying around, nothing was taken. It was an in and out job.
Whoever came in this house came in to kill the doctor. In the dining room is an initial scene where you have the windows pushed in and you have a trail of blood.
And that crime scene was very succinct. It wasn't spread out. You had the overturned chair, you had the glass on the floor, and you had the casings. So you knew that he was shot right here.
Investigators see now a Gatorade bottle and a shell casing with the hole blown out of the Gatorade bottle, suggesting somebody came up with the idea of a crude silencer, which I can tell you doesn't really work.
We were dealing with something that was a hit of sorts, that somebody had come to this house and to kill this person specifically. To me, it was just mind-boggling. Why is this man dead? He's a well-respected citizen in this community. Why is he dead?
The Sonia children are devastated. First their mother is murdered, then their father is murdered. This just doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. Forget about the coincidence of it all, the statistical likelihood that both parents would be murdered, separate occasions, is unfathomable.
I got the call the day before the 2-year anniversary of my mother's death. I thought maybe it had something to do with her death. That's how out of left field and completely out of nowhere this was.
We started racking our brains. Well, it's got to be some type of girlfriend situation. If it's not a robbery, it's somebody he knows.
His housekeeper, Fran, called me. And she said that something was going on at Joseph's house. The police were there, and they wanted me to come down.
When something like this happens, the first person police talk to is the closest loved one, and that would be Rochelle Shatina.
I was in shock. I was devastated.
This is Rochelle. Meeting with Rochelle that very first time, I don't know a lot about her. In the very beginning, you always have to consider people the closest, because 90% of the time, it's going to be the people that are closest to our victims that commit the crime against them.
How would you describe your relationship with Dr. Sonia?
He's the love of my life.
There were a couple of things that were mentioned by her that struck me as odd.
Rochelle Shatina had felt a little uneasy in the previous weeks before the murder took place. That someone was watching her. Maybe she was being followed. Something didn't seem quite right.
I'd gone in to work out, and I pulled into the parking lot, and there was this big, creepy-looking guy sitting there, and at the door, like he's looking for someone or watching someone.
It gives the investigators another sort of perspective. Is there some sort of surveillance or somebody that's actually watching the doctor and Rochelle?
It's dark outside, and Joseph and I both saw a flash from the outside. We laughed and kind of joked about, maybe somebody was following us.
Right from the beginning, Rochelle's attitude is pointing the fingers at all kinds of people. She starts offering a laundry list of potential candidates.
There's just, some girls that he dated. Joseph would get these horrible text messages, calling him, you're such a whatever.
Rochelle starts telling Johnson about different ex-girlfriends in Joseph Sonier's life as people who could possibly hold a grudge against him.
I got a letter in my mailbox. It was from this girl who said that she met Joseph on the internet and that they had sex for money, basically. And he said, this is obviously someone trying to drive a wedge in between us.
Was there a sense of who might be trying to drive a wedge between the two of you?
To me, it was like it had to be like an ex-girlfriend or something.
But Johnson has an idea that maybe it's somebody in Rochelle's past that has it in for Dr. Sonia.
So there could be somebody that you think we need to look at.
A couple of people.
Okay, tell me about one of them.
It's Dr. Thomas Michael Dixon. He's a plastic surgeon in Amarillo.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mike Dixon. If you're considering plastic surgery, make sure your surgeons are certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery.
He had a med spa in Amarillo, and I went there to get Botox injections.
What attracted you to him?
He was funny, he was very witty, and he was enjoyable. It was, if it can be enjoyable to have somebody put needles in your face, I guess that's about as enjoyable as it could be.
Rochelle and Mike Dixon had dated for about 1.5 years, and then they broke up, and then Rochelle started dating again, soon after seeing Joseph Sonia.
Did he know about your current relationship?
He knew that I was dating Joseph. He called him by name in a series of text messages trying to get me to go out with him and to meet him for coffee.
So he wanted you to see him on the side, basically.
He wanted me to come back to him. I told him no.
But the real question is, was Dixon the kind of man to take no for an answer? Johnson wants to know what Dixon knows, so he jumps in his car and drives 2 hours to Amarillo, Texas, to talk to Mike Dixon, secretly recording him when they start talking.
Hi, I hate to come bugging you at your house in all hours of the night.
What's going on?
Well, we've had a homicide in Lubbock, Texas today. I told him it was Rochelle's boyfriend, and his first thing was, I don't know anything about him.
I don't know anything about him. I haven't talked to her in months and months.
Zach Johnson knows someone's lying. The question is, who's lying?
I've got a guy that is dead in his house. It looks like a burglary, but there's nothing stolen. One of the things that we're trying to establish is, okay, why is Dr. Sonia dead? The crime scene pretty much is a little disorganized. And there was evidence at the crime scene that suggested it was a hit. And I'm not dealing with a professional hitman. So we have to figure out, okay, what's going on in this man's life? And we talk to Rochelle, and all of a sudden we may have a reason why it all kind of came together and he was murdered.
Rochelle, having told Detective Johnson about her former boyfriend, immediately sent up red flags. Was there somebody else part of this whole craziness?
It's Dr. Thomas Michael Dixon. He's a plastic surgeon in Amarillo.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mike Dixon.
So, you have this information from Rochelle. Could have been Mike Dixon.
So I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. And I knew, well, we're going to get a little bit more insight into this thing. We talked to Dr. Dixon. Well, we've had a homicide in Lubbock, Texas today. I told him it was Rochelle's boyfriend. And his first thing was, I don't know anything about him.
I don't know anything about him. I haven't talked to her in months and months.
And I was like, okay, well, that's a little odd because in our interview with Rochelle, she told us that he knew about the relationship.
I'll be honest with you, I love that woman. I really did.
He was obsessed with Rochelle. He was having a lot of problems getting over this breakup. He just couldn't seem to let her go.
I really had fallen head over heels and back. Made a lot of life changes for her.
We've learned that he's already had a divorce as a result of this affair with Rochelle, but he's not quite over her yet. I've learned that he still loves her. He's got a lot of feelings for her. He's very upfront about, I wanted her back.
There probably was a very close relationship there between Mike Dixon and Rochelle Shatina. They grew apart because Mike wasn't interested in marriage.
Rochelle seemed to think that at one point Dr. Dixon was probably going to propose to her. And there was a build-up leading to her birthday, and she thought it was coming, and maybe there's a ring. And instead, it's a subscription to the Tea of the Month Club.
And she went ballistic and said, well, I remember clearly, it's not a big rock. And I said, no, it's not, like a wedding ring.
When Dixon talked to police, he talked about how he gave you this Tea of the Month Club birthday gift, and it really, really angered you.
It wasn't about the fact that it was tea. Tea is lovely. I don't happen to drink it. It wasn't the gift that upset me. He could have shown up at my doorstep and given me a hug and said, happy birthday. I am so glad to be here with you today. And I would have been the happiest girl in the world. He was not present in any emotionally supportive aspect of my world.
Despite the breakup between Dixon and Rochelle, they stayed in contact with each other. They texted, they went to dinners together, and they even planned a weekend getaway.
She was like, hey, you want to put this back together? And I was like, yeah, I did. And so let's plan a trip, blah, blah, blah.
They had agreed to go on a trip. All she had to do was go up there.
The next day, she's like, hey, sorry, I'm in love with my dance partner. Okay. While you were out, I was like, really?
But boom, she drops the hammer on him and says, oh, by the way, I'm in love with my dance partner.
Some would say, well, you're throwing it in his face a little bit.
Well, no, I wasn't throwing it in his face. There was, an ugliness from him to me. And it's like, you know what? If you want to have a getaway, enjoy it. Go, enjoy your getaway. I don't want to be a part of it.
After Rochelle ended the relationship with Dr. Dixon, he started dating a medical student who was a couple of decades his junior.
This young medical student, Ashley Wolbert, actually happened to be his alibi because they were having sushi the night of the murder at a restaurant in Amarillo.
What has he told you about Rochelle? She was ex-girlfriend. She was really pretty. They dated. Him and his wife were separated. Started dating.
Johnson is just stumped. The alibis of Mike Dixon, of Rochelle, and of Dr. Sonier's ex-girlfriends, they all check out. There's still the stalker that Rochelle thinks is following her, this big, burly man that Rochelle saw in the backyard.
There's something not right here. But that's all that I have. And this is a huge whodunit.
What was it that broke this case wide open for you?
When Paul Reynolds called the police department.
My name's Paul Reynolds. We got a crime that happened down here in Lubbock. It's a homicide.
Who is Paul Reynolds?
Believe it or not, there are good people in the world, and Paul Reynolds is one of them, and he was scared.
Paul Reynolds is an aspiring nurse who's fallen on hard times, so he's crashing on the couch with his friend in Amarillo, who then tries to commit suicide by cutting his wrists and taking pills. And then that friend starts talking about murder.
I'm in with this friend of mine who said he went down there and he said he shot a guy.
Hey, what is your roommate's name?
His name's Dave Shepard. S-H-E-P-A-R-D.
And that was a name that Detective Johnson had heard before.
We have Dr. Mike Dixon. We have Paul Reynolds. We have Dave Shepard.
He's quick-witted and kind of sassy smart.
A picture is starting to emerge. How could they possibly be related to the murder of Dr. Sonier?
Detective Zach Johnson has just gotten his biggest lead in the murder of Joseph Sonier. And that suspect's name is Dave Shepard. The divorced father of 3, unemployed salesman with a criminal record. That was a name that Detective Johnson had heard before when he was talking to Mike Dixon's girlfriend, Ashley Wilbur.
He said that Dave was going to come over because he had some cigars for Dave from Bermuda.
He's just a common criminal. I don't know how to put it any other way.
David Shepard has a very long list of people that he's wronged over the years.
David Shepard had been convicted of stealing $30,000 from a business that he was involved in.
Dad didn't have money. Dad wasn't good at keeping money. I was 17 working part-time
after school, and he borrowed money from me.
As the police look into the background of Dave Shepard, they quickly learn that his new best friend is Dr. Mike Dixon, the former boyfriend of Rochelle.
These two were an odd couple. I mean, you got the down-and-out con man and the respected doctor, but they did have something in common.
Shepard was going through a divorce. Dr. Dixon was going through a divorce. That relationship formed over the shared experience.
This entire situation began, as police found out, when these two men, Mike Dixon and Dave Shepard, bonded over cigars and martinis.
Dad wanted to be Mike. Buy the nice house that's right outside of town. In the canyon, it's all private. Like, the whole 9 yards. Mike had it all.
And he would always promise us, one day I'm going to get you these things, and we're going to live in the big house, and you're all going to have your own rooms. You get to paint it however you want. You get whatever you want. And he wanted that, and Mike had it.
So he wanted to live the dream life of this wildly successful person, it sounds like. But was he willing to do the work to be that person?
No.
And Paul Reynolds had been living with Shepard for a few weeks, so he gives police insights into who this guy is as well.
Personally, I think he's just got super low self-esteem. I think he's just out there trying to find anybody that will convince him that he's something.
Detectives are beginning to believe that Mike Dixon found the perfect person to help him get back with Rochelle.
You know, I'll be honest with you, I love that woman.
And if not get back with her, disrupt her new love life.
Something happened between these two that made Dave think that he needed to avenge Mike. And apparently Dixon was not only going along with it, but he was going to pay him to do it.
In the minds of investigators, Dixon, they think, is a puppet master, and Shepard, the puppet.
It's around this time the police learn that Dave Shepard recently had a financial windfall.
Dad had money out of the blue. He didn't ever have money. We asked, how do you have money? He said, I'm doing some work for Mike and he paid me early.
With the hotline tip from Reynolds linking Shepard to Sonya's murder, and with the recent evidence that Dixon made a payment to Shepard, Zach Johnson's investigation kicks into high gear.
And so we move on to arrest warrants.
Who do you bring in first?
We went and we brought in David first. And he goes, I want my attorney.
Dr. Dixon, do everything you said?
Dr. Dixon comes in. And of course, he's madder than a hornet.
I mean, I'm under arrest at 2:15 in the morning. You're under arrest, correct. And this is probably your only opportunity to tell me what happened. I want an attorney now.
Shepard and Dixon are both arrested, and each is held on $10 million bond. Neither one of them talks until the investigators offer Shepard a deal.
For 3 months, he stays silent. Finally, they say to Shepard, if you confess to this murder and you do it on tape, we in turn will take the death penalty off the table.
It was real important for us in the Sonya family to figure out what happened. And so it answered a lot of questions for a lot of people.
What do you want me to call you? David? That'd be fine, sir.
What he tells us is pretty chilling because it's very cold. This whole thing was like this stair step. We knew where it stopped with the murder, but it had been building for months.
Tell me about Joe's relationship, how it evolved. 2 or 3 years ago, we were at a smoke shop. He's quick-witted. I'm kind of sassy, smart, and we just kind of hit it off. Smoking cigars is a very sociable thing, and we just connected and hooked up. When was the first time that he ever mentioned to you this Rochelle Shatina? My best estimate is September, October. He's around 49, 50 years old, smoking hot, looks younger than she was, thought she was great, and we pretty much wanted to break up Dr. Sonya and Rochelle.
They had this book, a complete book of dirty tricks that they were trying to execute on Dr. Sonya. What were some of the things they came up with?
They were going to get this porn subscription, like child gay porn, and they were going to send it to Dr. Sonya's office.
I gave him one suggestion to go to an adult bookstore and buy the most obscene, nastiest man-boy love association book he could and buy him a subscription and send it to his office. Because I said, that's a gift that'll keep giving.
They were thinking that was going to ruin his reputation, his professional reputation.
He asked me if I knew of a girl in Lubbock that would mind making $1,000 to cause a problem. He was asking me if I knew somebody that would pretend to be like a sugar baby of Dr. Sonnier.
I think Mike would have been embarrassed to tell me he was doing that, because he knows I would have told him, quit being a dummy. You know, this is ridiculous. Why are you wasting this time?
He said, we have to follow him. Let's take a trip to Lubbock. We drove down to Lubbock. He was already trying to tell me where they go, that kind of stuff.
Pretty soon, Dave Shepard is taking trips to Lubbock on his own. And police, well, they think that's at the direction of Mike Dixon.
And he paid for everything. Paid for my gas, paid for my meals.
And so, when you went to his house, tell me about getting out and actually going back there to do the recon.
Don't know exactly the first time I done it. Entered his backyard, opened the gate, took a picture, closed the gate, and left.
It looked like a camera flash, and we kind of shrugged our shoulders and said, that was weird.
Did you ever ask Michael Dixon, what are we doing? What's the next course of action?
We were at a club in Amarillo. Somebody volunteered. They said, hit him with a board. I said, you can probably kill him. And Doc went like that. We'll talk about that later.
So they're having drinks one night, and so far it's been nothing more than casual pranks, but you're talking about what comes next, and you gotta outdo what you did the last time. And now the talk turns to something a little bit more sinister.
What he says about the last moments of Dr. Sonnier's life would surprise even investigators.
Are you alright?
Hey, if you need a bathroom,
let me walk just a second.
That's fine.
When you have a suspect, they literally provide you in a very straightforward manner.
He was saying, well, I'd just like to cause him some problems.
Play by play, frame by frame.
He said we have to follow him.
Of a crime that's occurred. From the very beginning, how could this get any better?
David Shepard is singing like a canary. Implicates Dr. Dixon in the plot. Said he had to get even with this guy for basically taking his girl away.
He pretty much wanted to break up Dr. Sonnier and Rochelle.
Shepard tells police that while they're drinking the whiskey and sharing the cigars, they are now in the midst of developing a plot to actually commit murder, the murder of Dr. Sonnier.
He wanted him hurt, and then it gradually developed into having him killed. I asked him, you sure you want to do this, Mike? I said, if you kill somebody, that'll affect you for the rest of your life. You'll have nightmares, it'll bother you. And he goes, doesn't bother me.
They plan it for months and months and months.
As this plan developed between Mike and me, the plan was laid out. The best way to carry forth his objective was to stay down in his backyard, wait for him to come home.
Let's talk about the actual day that this happened.
Yes, sir. I believe it was a Tuesday.
Tuesday, July 10th.
Today in Lubbock, cooler temps that will dip into the upper 70s and lower 80s.
Shepard makes the drive from Amarillo to Lubbock, Texas, about a 2.5-hour drive, and gets to Joseph Sonnier's house at around 4 o'clock.
Hugged the fence down the alley and entered his backyard. Pulled a chair from his outdoor dining table. He has a curved brick fence by his driveway. On the west side, there's a tree by that fence, and I just sit underneath there.
And were you still having contact with Michael Dixon during that time?
Yes, sir. Mike was encouraging, keep the faith, be patient, he'll be there eventually.
For Dave Shepard, the only person he can trust and go to with any issue in this case is Dr. Dixon.
In Dr. Dixon's mind, Shepard's the perfect guy to carry out this mission because Dixon's like the boss. He's the prominent physician, and Shepard is essentially a loser, and the Patsy's ready to do whatever he's told.
And he's waiting for 2.5 hours, and the guy falls asleep.
He's awoken by the sound of someone knocking on the window from the inside, and it's none other than Dr. Joseph Saunier.
I wave at Dr. Saunier and get up. I walk to the window, and he has lowered the window about this far, from the top down.
What happens at that point?
I point the weapon with the bottle at him, discharge several times. After 3 or 4 discharges, he's backing away, trips on his feet, and falls to the ground.
Shepard admitted that he had used the Gatorade bottle to try and muffle the sound of the gunshot, and that he had learned that technique by watching a movie that starred Steven Seagal.
So I push in the window and crawl in. Go around the corner. As I turn around, down the hallway, right into the garage, he's laying on the floor. Not moving, not breathing, nothing. I check his pulse in his neck. He's dead.
And what happens?
I pull the knife out of my bag and I stab him in vital organs 2 or 3 more times.
I find that bizarre. It's just like he is so determined to make this right for whatever his relationship might be with Dixon that he wants to complete the task.
According to Shepard, after he kills Dr. Saunier, he then drives back to Amarillo.
So did you recount for Michael Dixon the events?
Yes, sir. He was happy about it. He was fine with it. He said I sound like he got away clean.
And the very next day, he's caught on camera having a meal with Mike Dixon.
Shepard told police that Dixon became extremely rattled by the fact that detectives had come over to talk to him about the death of Dr. Saunier.
He was nervous. He said I had to get out of town.
Dixon recommended that David Shepard get the heck out of Dodge, that he leave the area, which would, in Dr. Dixon's mind, keep him from being investigated by Lubbock police.
But David Shepard seems to be overcome by what has happened and maybe his role in this. He attempts suicide, cuts his wrist.
If you can imagine the disgust that you can feel with yourself after being involved with what I did. Then I pull out a fillet knife and try to cut myself. It's bleeding like a stuck pig.
First person he calls after that? Mike Dixon. Dixon and Shepard are caught on surveillance heading into Mike Dixon's office, where Mike Dixon stitches him up.
Dave Shepard has basically given you a roadmap as to what happened, and you see how he directly ties Dixon into planning this murder. You now clearly have built a case against Dr. Dixon.
2 suspects are in custody in connection with the murder of a Lubbock
One
physician.
doctor is dead and 2 people are under
Police
arrest.
arrested Dr. Thomas Dixon and David
Dr.
Shepard,
Saunier
both
was
in
found
Amarillo.
shot and stabbed to death in his living room.
I cannot believe that they did this. It makes me so angry. A low-life scum and a piece of doctor.
Like it or not, Mike Dixon is an evil man, and David Shepard is an evil man.
It seemed like a slam dunk for prosecutors. They had the man who admitted to killing Dr. Joseph Saunier as a witness. As they say in West Texas, everybody thought this case was done and dusted.
But is the case against Mike Dixon too good to be true? You gotta remember, the prosecution's star witness is Dave Shepard. I mean, this is a guy with a history as a con man and a swindler.
Shepard is known for telling all kinds of tall tales.
Dave Shepard is a con artist of the ultimate magnitude.
The prosecution painted Mike Dixon as this puppeteer.
If he was that manipulative, this was the dumbest planned murder in the history of the United States, to choose David Shepard.
What he ends up doing in the courtroom just turns this case upside down.
He made jaws drop in that courtroom.
This is the kind of moment that you typically see in a movie. The case is going to blow up in the prosecutor's face, and a convicted man walks free tonight.
This is the oldest story in the book. This is revenge. This is pride.
So there was some kind of a triangle thing was going on.
He knew that I was dating Joseph. He wanted me to come back to him. I told him no.
What did they have on this prominent doctor? Maybe he was in love. Maybe he was in lust. Whatever, did that make him a killer?
I'm kind of sassy, smart, and we just kind of hit it off.
These two men, Shepard and Dixon, it's a very, very strange romance. Think of the goofiest buddy film that you can, and here's these two guys.
Dad wanted to be Mike. Mike had it all.
Once Dave Shepard got in that chair and started speaking, he made jaws drop in that courtroom.
This once convicted mastermind of a killer, he's out on the streets.
So we think the case is closed? Not even.
It's October 2014, and you can feel that fall chill starting to roll into Texas. But in the Lubbock County Courthouse, things are starting to heat up.
Anything to say, Dr. Dixon?
Likely one of the bigger murder trials that this city has seen in a long, long time.
The gallery was packed. Everybody was there to see how this trial was going to go.
This prominent plastic surgeon,
Dr. Michael Dixon,
accused of hiring a hitman, friend and business partner David Shepard. This case is nothing short of surreal. First, you have the victim, Dr. Joseph Saunier, a very prominent pathologist. Then you have another prominent physician, Dr. Mike Dixon, and he's accused of placing a hit on Dr. Saunier. And in the middle of all of it, you have a beautiful blonde named Rochelle Shatina.
Going after someone I loved would hurt me, and that's what he was going to do. He wanted to hurt me as badly as he could.
I think Mike Dixon had an obsession with Rochelle Shatina based on the evidence. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And ultimately, that cost Dr. Saunier's life.
I promise I'll be totally compliant. I promise.
Dave Shepard is sort of the oddball friend of Dr. Dixon, and he tells police that Mike Dixon paid him in advance to do the hit.
He wanted him hurt, and then it gradually developed into having him killed.
I think Mike Dixon controlled this situation. I think David Shepard was the perfect patsy. I think he loved the lifestyle that Dr. Dixon could give him. I think he likes the expensive cigars and expensive scotch and everything else that came with being a buddy of Mike Dixon.
Many people make the argument that Mike Dixon never laid a hand on Dr. Saunier.
He's just controlling the knife. Dave Shepard's just another instrument for Mike Dixon.
What was your mindset going into that trial?
Let's go get these guys. We knew they had the right guys. In my mind, there was no other possibility.
There's always two sides of these kinds of cases. And on the other side, you have Andrew Dixon, Mike Dixon's son, who has a very different view of this case.
He was a good dad. He did dad things, kind of American dream kind of stuff. Go camp and hike and play baseball and football and all those things. They're trying to prove him guilty, and he's fighting for his life. I mean, it's just terrifying and so sickening.
I've known Mike Dixon for 25 years. He's as solid as they come. There was no intent to kill, and I know that with all my heart. He's harmless.
But in courtroom 72 of the Lubbock County Courthouse, the prosecution paints a far different picture of Mike Dixon.
Somebody who was arrogant, somebody using Shepard as a pawn to keep up with Rochelle and Dr. Saunier's relationship, and goodness knows what else.
This is the oldest story in the book. This is vengeance. This is revenge. This is pride.
One of the big pieces of evidence that Lubbock prosecutors used against Dixon was this .22 caliber pistol, which David Shepard told police that he used to shoot Dr. Saunier.
Prosecutors presented evidence that the gun that was used to kill Dr. Saunier was given to him by Dr. Dixon. Circumstantial evidence, pretty strong stuff.
David Shepard tells us that he told Dixon, I don't have a gun. And Dixon says, don't worry about it, I got the cover. I have a gun. He says, it belongs to my brother who gave it to me, and it's clean.
Police divers were seen pulling something from the lake. Shepard was on hand to point police to areas in the lake to search.
He said he'd thrown the gun into a lake in Amarillo behind Dr. Dixon's office.
Also, prosecutors have a wealth of text messages between Shepard and Dixon when Shepard was stalking Shatina and Sonye.
When he was arrested, the SWAT guys told me he had actually jumped into a swimming pool and tried to ruin the phone. The problem was the man had plugged the phone in and backed it up to his computer. So all of the stuff that he thought was not going to get him in trouble was backed up to his computer.
Prosecutors here are saying that they found text messages from Dixon to Shepard, urging Shepard to kill. We're talking text messages like, go get him, whip and spur, get her done, and put it on him.
If you look at the text messages, put it on him, those types of things, there wasn't any doubt in my mind what they were talking about.
A real eyebrow raiser is how the payoff supposedly happened to the alleged hitman here. 3 silver bars and a box of cigars. It's hard to find a good Cuban cigar, but the silver bars are worth some $9,000.
According to prosecutors, one of which was sold to this pawn shop in Amarillo, Texas, before the murder, and 2 after the murder, sold by none other than Dave Shepard. What was he like? Do you remember any of his affect?
He was a pretty good sized guy. He seemed just like a normal guy to me. I didn't notice anything different about him.
In terms of demeanor, he didn't strike you one way or the other, it sounds like?
Not at all.
So he sold you something just like this. Oh,
yeah,
it's heavy.
Very similar, yeah.
He leaves. A couple days later, he's on the front page of the paper.
Right. Yeah, it was kind of pretty much a shock. I mean, I was blown away.
All the evidence that prosecutors have against Mike Dixon is strong, but their primary piece of their case is Dave Shepard.
He pleaded guilty for a life sentence with no opportunity for parole.
And so after the death penalty was taken off the table, that's when Dave Shepard agreed to testify against his old drinking buddy, Mike Dixon.
It seemed like a slam dunk for prosecutors. They had the man who admitted to killing Dr. Joseph Sonye as a witness.
He had a chance to get up there, confirm his story, point to that guy as the person who paid him to kill my dad, and end it all.
But what he ends up doing is an absolute shock to the prosecutors and to the family of the victim.
The star witness was about to blow up in the prosecution's case.
Shocking testimony today at the capital murder trial for Amarillo doctor Thomas Dixon.
The prosecution's case against Dixon was very strong.
You've got a payoff to an alleged hitman. You've got a murder weapon. The circumstantial case here seems to have a lot of elements that would favor the prosecution.
Everything that the prosecution laid on the table was countered by the defense, including Shepard's access to the gun.
See, the defense claimed that Shepard stole the gun from Mike Dixon's house, and Frank Sellers, one of the defense attorneys, showed me where he thought Shepard stole that gun from.
They came in here, they're picking out a cigar to smoke, and Shepard opens this drawer here, and it's a gun.
So that's how Shepard knew a gun was in that drawer.
Exactly.
The defense team admits, hey, the silver bars changed hands, but this wasn't to pay off some murder for hire scheme. This was the seed money for some new business collaboration between the two.
Did Mike Dixon ever pay David Shepard in silver bars and cigars to kill Dr. Joseph Sonye?
Absolutely not.
The defense said that the surveilling that David Shepard was doing was really only to get pictures of Dr. Sonye out with other women so that he could show them to Rochelle and say, this guy is cheating on you.
Shepard's reporting back, I couldn't find him, and I think Mike became frustrated with it, and it's evident from the messages that he was sending.
So then go get him and whip and spur. Go get who?
Use of lots of Texas Panhandle colloquialisms, like get her done, put it on him, go get him. He had a history of using that language with lots of different people.
And the reason they say Mike Dixon was so upset was they felt Rochelle Shatina was trying to throw the relationship with Joseph Sonnier in Mike Dixon's face. In court, the defense points to text messages between Shatina and Dixon when she backed out of that planned vacation. She texts, "I'm in love. Enjoy your getaway." When Dixon asks, "Who's the lucky guy?" Rochelle replies, "New dance partner."
And so Mike, his ego was deeply bruised, and he wanted to show Rochelle that she was wrong.
So from your perspective, it was about Mike Dixon and his ego.
Right.
The defense really grilled you about these text messages.
Oh, yeah, they absolutely did. They did. Text messages that I hadn't seen in years. It came out of the blue. It was crazy.
Is there anything in this that you regret from these text messages?
To Mike Dixon?
Mm-hmm.
No. No.
Anything you wish you would have said differently?
I suppose if I went through each individual text message, yeah, maybe.
Mike is morally responsible for David Shepard being down here, but not for the purpose of killing Dr. Sonnier. Mike Dixon never wanted that to happen.
Defense attorneys were really eager to make it clear that Shepard decided to become rogue, and even though Dixon wanted him to surveil Dr. Sonnier and Rochelle, he just decided on his own to go down and kill this man.
But there's one big problem with that theory. Remember, back when Shepard was talking to police, he said that Mike Dixon asked him to kill Dr. Joseph Sonnier.
I asked him, "You sure you want to do this, Mike?" I said, when you kill somebody, that'll affect you for the rest of your life. You'll have nightmares, it'll bother you. And he goes, "Doesn't bother me."
When you saw the interview police did with him, were you thinking, slam dunk, we got him?
I don't know if I've ever thought something's a slam dunk. If you watch Dave Shepard on that interview, he's calm, he's relaxed, he's telling things that flow very naturally.
He's laying on the floor, not moving, not breathing, nothing.
We certainly believed it because it matched up the physical evidence. Without Shepard, you've got suspicion, you've got circumstantial evidence, but he's the one who can bring it all together.
Matt Powell calls David Shepard to the witness stand, and the jury's about to hear, at least Powell thinks, that Dixon set him up to go down there and paid him to kill Sonnier.
Shepard not only had to face the jury, but he had to face the victim's family and his 3 daughters, Rachel, Abigail, and Haley. And they weren't there to support their father. You were in that courtroom to get closure.
We were there more in support of the Sonnier family. Right. Yes. Our heart was broken for them.
And do you think that Mike Dixon paid your father to kill Dr. Sonnier?
Yes. Yes.
There wasn't a single seat open in the courtroom this morning.
It was the moment many had been waiting for, the courtroom filled with those wanting to hear testimony of the convicted killer, David Shepard.
Once Dave Shepard got in that chair and started speaking, he made jaws drop in that courtroom.
Shepard takes the stand, this bombshell drops. No, I did it at my own choosing. I'm the one who decided to go kill Dr. Sonnier. It just flipped the whole trial on its head.
This is the kind of moment that you typically see in a movie where the star witness suddenly decides, I'm not going to testify against him. That stuff doesn't typically happen in real courtrooms.
It was definitely easy today to see why District Attorney Matt Powell seemed a little bit frustrated.
You begin to question what happens.
Well, it can completely digress from what his statement was to law enforcement in the fact that Mike Dixon didn't have any involvement in this deal.
What's going through your mind?
Okay, game on. We impeached him with his prior statements where he's laying out in great detail what Mike Dixon did.
When he got up there on the witness stand, created that circus, I've never hated anyone more than I've hated him in my entire life.
The question now is how much damage did this full-on reversal do to the prosecution's case? More importantly, what did it do to the jury?
When he got on the stand and changed his entire story, it just kind of threw me for a loop.
The air has just been sucked out of courtroom 72 in a Lubbock courthouse. A bomb has been dropped. David Shepard was supposed to take the stand and say Dr. Dixon ordered him to kill Dr. Sonnier Instead, Shepard took all the blame for the murder and insisted that Dixon had nothing to do with it.
David Shepard's daughters were embarrassed, angry, and incredulous that their father would not finger Dr. Dixon as the man who hired him.
He was cowardly. He has a chance to make it right, and he completely ruined it.
Why do you think he did that?
He was trying to help out his Betty.
They took it upon themselves to go to the children of Dr. Saunier and apologize for what their father had just said on the stand.
What did you say to them?
We are so sorry for what he has done to you and what he is continuing to do to you.
The three daughters, we have a mutual understanding, a mutual respect, mutual sadness. We all know what happened. They knew from day one. They couldn't believe what their dad had done. And I couldn't believe he put them in that situation.
So after David Shepard is taken back to jail, his daughters go to talk to him and confront him about what the heck did you just do? They were emotional. They were upset.
But Daddy, you didn't tell the truth. You didn't say anything. You just kept saying that you wouldn't tell them.
But I did.
No part of this is right. None of it will ever be right.
There's nothing I can do.
No matter what you do.
They think I'm some kind of a monster.
You've made yourself a monster, Dad.
And you were literally breaking down in tears.
It was frustrating. I felt like I was scolding a child. Like, I just want you to answer my question, and then you can go back to timeout.
The question now is, how much damage did this full-on reversal on the part of Dave Shepard do to the prosecution's case? More importantly, what did it do to the jury?
Nobody knew how that might affect the verdict. Everybody's on edge.
It was still sort of anyone's guess what the verdict would be.
But the damage was done.
I'm Brian Mudd.
And I'm Lauren Motter. Thomas Dixon's accused of hiring another man to murder Lubbock doctor Joseph Saunier.
Years of work ending with a hung jury and a mistrial for Dr. Thomas Dixon.
If Shepard's goal was to free his friend, it worked.
The judge says, Mr. Dixon, you are free to go. Everybody is stunned. Stunned.
It was devastating. I mean, I had a moment of just silence. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think.
Do you think that he was the biggest factor to getting that hung jury?
Absolutely, 100%.
Justice is a guilty verdict, and when that doesn't happen, I feel disappointed. I feel like I've let the family down. I feel like I've let our team down. I feel like I've let everybody down.
You have to ask the question, how could the prosecutors have let this happen? The prosecutors have to bear some responsibility for calling a witness to the stand, star witness, who does a complete 180 in front of the jury.
So before the trial, how many times did you get to speak to him?
I talked to him one time. I really don't spend a whole lot of time with witnesses, getting them prepared and things like that.
In hindsight, do you wish that could have been done differently?
I don't know if there was a way to do that differently. We had no indication he wasn't going to tell the truth.
I was upset with the jury. How could they not see? The evidence to me was very, very clear that he was guilty. He did this.
And that was the big question at that point. What did the jury think of this?
When he got on the stand and changed his entire story, it just kind of threw me for a loop at first.
The prosecutor's face got red and veins were popping out of his neck.
Matt Powell was livid, but he was able to recover because he already had a videotape of Shepard confessing to the crime. He showed that to the jury, and that was enough to convince some of the jurors.
The video, Dave Shepard's confession, was a revelation, I thought.
Shepard's just pretty much giving us all the information right there.
It really tied together a lot of the facts we had heard in testimony. And so there was little doubt in my mind at that point of guilty for me. During our deliberations, we had two jurors that were not able to really come to the same place that we were.
I felt, how do they have any doubt when the evidence was all there in my eyes?
It only took two of those jurors disagreeing to make this a mistrial.
And those two jurors had never talked publicly before about why they voted the way they did. Until now.
Yeah. Almost 5 years. I know, can you believe it?
I knew what we had signed up for, and I did not take any of it lightly.
I felt like it was my job to go in there and look at everything.
We did see the video testimony of Dave Shepard, and for that to be in such stark contrast of what his in-court testimony was raised a lot of red flags for me.
The problem is that the judge specifically said to the jurors, you can use this video, but only for the purpose of determining whether this witness is telling the truth, but not as substantive evidence to convict. For these two jurors, they apparently felt there just wasn't enough without it.
I never felt like he was pushing him to kill. I felt like he was pushing him to take photographs.
There were a couple text messages that Matt Powell had mentioned, like whip and spur, get her done.
Yeah, get her done.
And I think that the effort there was to make those sound a little bit more malicious than they actually were.
I always thought that, yes, he probably did give him silver bars, but that doesn't mean he gave him silver bars for murdering somebody. I just feel like that we had so many people from the time we were supposed to make our decision, and there was no discussion. They said he was guilty, and they weren't going to talk about it.
It's frustrating, especially those of us who had our stand and how we believed, and for all that, it seemed like for nothing.
After the trial was over, there was still that question. Why did David Shepard go back on his deal and completely burn the prosecution?
To get that answer, I went to a maximum security prison where Dave Shepard was serving a life sentence to sit down face to face with the man who murdered Joseph Sonye. He said that Mike Dixon was a part of this.
Right.
Why did you tell them that? After Dave Shepard's flip-flop in court, everybody wanted to know why. Why did he change his story? I went to a maximum security prison in West Texas where Dave Shepard was serving a life sentence, and I sat down face to face with him. This is a mountain of a man. I mean, he's got to be 6'7", 6'8", maybe 300 pounds. He is intimidating. How you doing, David?
I put myself in a bad position, and I've got no one to blame but myself.
I asked him point blank, right off the bat, what happened inside that house? And his claim wasn't a cold-blooded killing. It was a tragic accident.
I'm in his backyard. He knocks on the window, and I waved out and walked to it. I said, I'm showing you some stuff. He goes, all right. And I lift stuff up, and then the world went. Things got out of hand. Unintentionally, gun fired. I'm leaning in to see if he's okay. I fall in the window, and then he's getting up and going around. I'm running around to see what's going on. I said, Dr. Sonye, are you all right? I don't hear anything. Go in the garage. He's laying prone. I hear his last breath. I reach down. There's no pulse.
Did you stab him?
I did stab him a couple of times. I can't reconcile the number that the prosecution says. 11, I think they've said. I had Dr. Sonye's phone in my hand, and I considered dialing 911 just to call the authorities, and I didn't. I put it back in, mutilated his bodily remains, and tried to cover it, making it look like something else.
Do you consider yourself a cold-blooded killer?
No, absolutely not. An idiot, careless. But no.
Remember, in David Shepard's interview with police, he told them that when he notified Dr. Dixon that he in fact carried out the murder of Dr. Sonye, Dr. Dixon was very pleased to hear the news.
He was happy about it. He was fine with it. I said, Mike, things didn't go like I hoped. He goes, what are you talking about? And then I broke the news to him. And he's like, so are you telling me? I said, yeah. I said, Mike, I'm just telling you what happened. And I said, I almost called the police. I should have, and I didn't. I'm thinking now I should have, and I didn't. And he goes, Well, we'll just have to see what happens. He goes, I don't know. I don't know.
But why wouldn't he have shared all that with police who were then coming by his house, talking to him? Hey, he didn't even mention your name.
Probably try to keep me out of that situation so they wouldn't even know about me. I don't know. You'll have to ask Dr. Dixon about what his thinking is.
What Shepard told me was totally at odds with what he told police. He told police that Dixon told him, I want you to kill Sonia.
You wanted him hurt, and then it gradually developed into having him killed.
Did Mike Dixon ever ask you to kill Dr. Joseph?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
When the police interrogated you, you said that Mike Dixon was a part of this.
Right.
Why did you tell them that?
I embellished. I felt that's what I had to do because I'd already had an agreement with Mr. Matt Powell, he was the DA, to get rid of the death penalty.
So in your mind, you made up the story that Mike Dixon was involved to get the death penalty off the table.
Yeah.
Shepard said that Mike Dixon told him just to keep tabs on Rochelle and Joseph, just to take pictures, follow them around, and see what they were up to. Why'd you help him with this?
Seems kind of silly. Looking back, I didn't want to offend anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody, and I sometimes have a hard time saying no, I guess.
There were all these text messages that Mike Dixon was sending to you. Go get him, whip and spur. So those text messages were referring to?
I would assume staying on target so you can get a picture of him with another girl besides Rochelle. I didn't mean to kill Dr. Sonia. I have nothing against Dr. Sonia or his family or Rochelle Sativa. I have nothing against any of them. I really don't.
What would you say to them right now if they were watching?
I tell them that I'm very sorry. I took your loved one.
You get on the stand. You see Mike Dixon there. You see your family there. You change your story. What was that moment like for you?
It was antagonizing. It was very hard.
Your daughters told us that they were so upset that this was your chance to get up there and to tell the truth, and that in their mind you lied.
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
Pretty bad. They know me. They should know when I'm telling the truth and when I'm not. And I was telling the truth on the stand.
Do you miss them?
Oh, every day. I'm sorry.
The damage is done. There's not anything that's going to repair our relationship. There's nothing that can fix it or make it right, even if he were to get out.
Do you think your dad should spend the rest of his life in prison?
Absolutely. Yes. We have absolutely, accepted it and proven that we can move on and we can be better and we can absolutely overcome it and be stronger because of it.
Despite what happened with David Shepard's extraordinary turnaround, the prosecution was not about to give up. 1 year later, they're back in court, ready to try Dr. Dixon one more time.
Matt Powell, without blinking, he says, we are going to get this guy. We're going to do this again. Don't you worry. I've got you. And that's all I needed to hear.
Amarillo Dr. Michael Dixon is back on trial for capital murder.
When the witness list comes out for the second trial, David Shepard's name is not to be found. But on the list is his daughter, Haley.
The number one most important thing from this second trial was the unbelievably courageous testimony of Haley Shepard.
But what Haley would say about just a simple steak dinner would turn this case on its head. What did you say on the stand?
Amarillo Dr. Michael Dixon is back on trial for capital murder.
Is Dixon back in a Lubbock courtroom preparing for his...
Well, today officials announced the start of the second trial.
Everybody thought going into the first trial that prosecutors had a pretty rock-solid case. Second trial, everybody was wondering, what is the prosecution going to do this time around to make it so that they can get a conviction?
Our strategy was basically, we're going to let the facts do the talking. We're going to show you what happened. We're going to show you the relationship between these two folks, and we're going to convince you that Mike Dixon's running this show and that he orchestrated this whole thing.
David Shepard had no reason to kill my dad if it wasn't for Mike Dixon.
In a retrial, prosecutors can take any mistakes that they made in the first case, try to refine it, try to change it, and present a often stronger case in the second trial.
Clearly, they were not going to take any chances with David Shepard's testimony this time. And lo and behold, who comes up but his daughter, who has information that could prove very damaging to Dr. Dixon's case.
That was his chance to make it right with them, and he threw it away.
The number one most important thing from this second trial was the unbelievably courageous testimony of Haley Shepard.
Haley Shepard testified, and her testimony was extremely important in the fact she basically described her dad for everybody.
She told jurors that her father took herself and her two sisters out to dinner at a pretty decent steakhouse and had all sorts of gifts for them, and she found that very suspicious.
He bought Haley a phone, he bought a new grill, he bought tires, and he never had that much money, ever. We all remember this same exact moment at dinner. We all asked him, how do you have money? And his words were, I did some work for Mike. Well, what'd you do? He wouldn't tell us.
Don't worry about
I just did some work for Mike, don't worry about it.
The Saunier family has some hope that that testimony was the game changer that didn't exist in the first trial.
The defense had its own star witness in Mike Dixon himself. But having the defendant testify is always a risk.
It's a lot of times a defense attorney's nightmare because the prosecution sees that as red meat.
And now the jury gets to hear from the man who's in the fight for his life and his freedom at this point.
Our strategy was to show that there was a reason that Mike Dixon was asking David Shepard to be at Saunier's house and to follow him. If the jury only has the text messages without any explanation about what they were about, it's over. Mike needed to say, I was wrong. I'm morally responsible. If I hadn't have asked David to get these pictures, maybe it wouldn't happen. But I did not intend for Joseph Saunier to die. I didn't ask Shepard to kill him.
Part of the decision in whether to call a defendant to the witness stand is not just the substance of what he's going to say, but how is he going to say it? What's his demeanor like? Are the jurors going to like him or not? Those are all relevant factors.
We learned from jurors that they didn't like Mike Dixon. Not necessarily his testimony, they didn't like him.
I thought he was his worst witness. The longer he was on the stand, the harder he was to believe.
He had an ego that was larger than life, and anytime he starts talking about whether something is morally right or wrong, I knew at that point I could not believe what he was testifying to.
The jury, they seemed to appreciate Haley's testimony.
Shepard's daughter, that was tough to sit and watch her have to go through this.
But they did what you would hope jurors would do. It wasn't one thing. They looked at all the evidence.
And you could tell Dixon was running the show. I mean, there was no doubt when you go through the evidence that he was, as Mr. Powell, stated, he was driving the school bus.
This time around, the jury did not take very long, and there were no holdouts. In just a handful of hours, they were back with a verdict. And my hand was shaking like this.
The verdict is in. Unanimous verdict.
Guilty on 2 charges.
At first, you're thinking, I didn't hear that right. You really are. You're thinking, there's no way. There's no way. And it's unreal. It's like a nightmare.
I'm disappointed in the justice system. I always thought they were supposed to be the good guys.
After a few minutes, I had to turn to my wife and I had to say, he said guilty, right? He said guilty. We've been waiting for that moment for over 3 years.
I cried.
I cried. I burst into tears. I was so relieved.
When you look at the photos of him, smug smile. When you look at his mugshot from his arrest, smug smile. And it was so great to be able to know that we finally wiped that smile off his face. And I think he'll disappear into the prison system for the rest of his life. We'll never hear from him again.
The jury's done its job. The prosecution wins. And there's at least some peace of mind for the family of Dr. Saunier knowing that justice was served. Case closed? Not even close.
And people were floored. They were like, this is unbelievable.
After his 2015 conviction for the murder of Joe Saunier, Michael Dixon is serving his life prison sentence at the all-red maximum security prison.
You would think in this case that justice has been served, but has it?
Thomas Michael Dixon gets a new trial.
That's when all of us think this case is finished. The 7th Court of Appeals in Amarillo overturns the conviction.
People were floored. They were like, this is unbelievable.
The defense listed something like 50 issues on appeal, and they succeeded on 2 of them.
The cell phone tower location information that was used in Dixon's trial was deemed inadmissible because it was obtained without a warrant.
And that the judge had closed the courtroom at times that he shouldn't have.
These are really big deals. Do law enforcement get to just go grab anything they want from our personal lives and invade our privacy without probable cause to do so? And the other matter is, we don't have secret trials where we get to expel the public from the courtroom for whatever reason.
The Circuit Court of Appeals in Amarillo reversed Dixon's conviction.
He starts with a clean slate. He's presumed innocent, so we start over from scratch.
He's now out of prison, living in the Amarillo area.
The second big bombshell is this convicted man is now out of prison. His bond reduced from $10 million to $2 million.
He was thrilled. He was really delighted and hopes to finally achieve his vindication.
He's doing good. His spirits are high. He got to see his grandson for the first time. He wears an ankle monitor. They keep an eye on him, and he has to let them know where he's going and what he's doing. He can go all around Amarillo and do daily activities. If he needs to go to Walmart, he can certainly do that.
There's a gag order which prevents family members from talking about this case. But you can understand why the Saunier family would be furious.
In their mind, the man who ordered the hit on their dad, now he's walking free.
Mike Dixon and his family are victims too. It's horrible that they're having to go through this over and over again till they can get a fair trial.
They had a rush to judgment on Mike. Stop that train and do what's right. Find justice, not just a conviction.
The new Lubbock County District Attorney, she's filed her own petition to get the conviction put back in place. But if that's rejected, we're going to trial number 3.
Mike Dixon is free right now. Andrew Dixon has his dad. On the other hand, his life is once again hanging in the balance as he faces another trial. He could end up right back in prison.
The loss of such a dear and decent and good man is a tragedy beyond words. This whole thing is nothing but darkness and evil. To be at the center of all of that is, it's horrible.
It wasn't a love triangle. It was, Rochelle was telling Mike how great a person Saunier was, and that's how all this snowballed into a horrible tragedy.
I'll challenge each one of us to focus on what he left behind and the man who touched us all.
I thank the Lord for every moment that we had with Joe.
My son was born after my father was murdered. He will never know my father. It's heartbreaking, and it's also a challenge to make sure that my son knows what kind of man my father was, and that I pass on that legacy.
It's amazing the things that people will do for nothing. Look how many lives have been destroyed by this. Over nothing.
What, in fact, happened to Sarah Stern?
Sarah's car was found early on a Saturday morning
just disappeared.
Just vanished.
What do you guys have this thing listed as, this car on the bridge? Is it a missing person? Hello, police department. There's nobody in the house. Has she been different than normal lately?
Well,
and for how long?
in the past, she has had a tendency to have self-destructive, suicidal behavior.
How could this girl just commit suicide?
If she did jump off the bridge, what are the odds that she's not coming all the way out of the ocean bound?
Something's not right here. Maybe this wasn't a suicide. Maybe she was murdered. This is the last time we see her face. And we still can't find Sarah. We don't know where Sarah is. They were Sarah's friends. They had been making this dark, bone-chilling plan.
You are the only person on this planet that knows.
When you saw the video, what was your reaction? I didn't even admit it. So tell us about Neptune City, New Jersey.
Neptune City is this small, little, sleepy, tight-knit community right in the heart of Neptune Township. Everybody in that town generally knows everyone else.
It's a couple miles from the beach. It touches on Belmar and some of the shore communities.
So there's a lot of beach going. There's a lot of kids growing up a lifeguard.
Neptune City more closely resembles Middle America than it does the Jersey Shore that's portrayed on television. This is Bruce Springsteen country. This is the area that Bruce Springsteen is singing about, writing about in Born to Run.
This case would rock any town, much less a county, but it's been especially impactful in a town like Neptune City because everyone is just so tight-knit there and close with one another.
911, where's the emergency? Not an emergency. Actually on the Belmar Bridge, there's a car that's abandoned. It's off to the side of the road.
I kind of got a strange feeling, like why would this older model car, be completely dark late at night like that at 2:30 in the morning? So it prompted me to call, 911 and to give the report.
The car did not appear to have been in an accident, and it was left abandoned.
And was there anybody inside the vehicle? I looked now.
There was a number of people we learned about later that had seen the car on the bridge. A couple people called it in later once they realized what had happened.
It's sort of up here at the crest of the bridge, like right about here was the car. It just looked broken down. It looked like he just popped the hood and was, walking around the front of the car that I thought he was gonna, look under the hood and fix his car.
And it started from there, tracking down who the owner of that vehicle was.
This is a small town. Word travels fast. The cops know, obviously, a lot of people in this small town. They have a car parked on a bridge, and they quickly find out it's normally driven by a 19-year-old by the name of Sarah Stern.
Phone rang around 3 o'clock in the morning. Listen, do you know anything about the car, gray Oldsmobile? And I said, yeah, my daughter drives that car. A million things go through your mind.
You were in Florida.
Yeah.
You drove from Florida back to New Jersey.
At 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, there's no traffic, so you can drive pretty quick.
Sarah Stern was very well known to the community due to the fact that her family was very well known. Sarah was a kid that everybody knew. She was always around. Kind of threw everybody off with that car just being left at the top of that bridge with absolutely no good rhyme or reason as to why.
No one knew where Sarah was, and they didn't know why they couldn't get in touch with her. She was attached to her phone, like most 19-year-olds are, and there would be no reason for why her phone was off and she wasn't taking calls, taking text messages on a Friday night.
No answer on her phone.
Police then immediately start investigating, and this becomes not just an abandoned car on a bridge, but a missing person. There's this 19-year-old girl who has gone off the grid, and no one knows why.
We're standing in the middle of a softball field because you have that in connection with Sarah as well.
She was definitely a much better player than I was. But yeah, we played in our elementary school together, and then we went on to play at Neptune High School where we went.
She was an athlete. She played softball, but towards the end of her high school career, she became more devoted to arts and digital media.
I think Sarah was an artist. I think she was creative. I think she was a sweet girl. Based upon everything I've ever heard about her, people loved her. She knew who her friends were, and a lot of people cared about her.
The school would go and do the windows for the holidays.
Wow, she was really good.
With Sarah.
Wow.
This is probably 2014, 15. I'm not sure exactly, but probably the last couple of years.
You could feel how much he loved being a dad to Sarah.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Really.
She just amazed me at some of the stuff she did.
Liam McAtasney was a childhood friend of Sarah's. He went to high school with her. They lived just blocks away from each other.
Liam started Woodrow Wilson School in 7th grade. That is a school that Sarah attended, and they were instantly friends.
I think she saw someone she could trust and someone who genuinely wanted to be there for her and be her friend.
Preston was another friend of Sarah's. They weren't as close as Sarah and Liam were, but they were friends. Preston actually took Sarah to the junior prom.
Preston and Liam became friends freshman year in high school. And, they obviously maintained a close friendship even after high school. They wound up moving in together.
I think that she definitely thought of them as really good friends and someone she could confide in and trust and talk to.
When you're leafing through the Neptune High School yearbook, 2015, the Trident, you really get a picture of this friend group and how it emerged. And then you see Sarah Stern. She was most artistic. Her quote, "Be yourself. Don't ever be what you think other people would want you to be." There's a best friend section of the yearbook where you see Liam and his twin brother Seamus and Preston. Liam McAtasney has a quote. The question isn't what we are going to do. The question is, what aren't we going to do? Sarah wasn't really interested in boys. She was very much doing her own thing, looking to pursue her art, start her career. She was never romantically involved with Liam nor Preston, and she was happy to have them as good guy friends. They bonded over things like movies and video games and comic books, the things that she was genuinely into.
Early in Sarah's life, when she was a freshman in high school, her mom passed away from cancer.
She definitely learned to lean on her dad and her friends and use that support system around her when she needed it, so she never had a reason to feel alone.
Sarah and her dad were very close. They became even closer after her mother passed away.
She started to develop, started to blossom, and she had this passion for art, for the YouTube scene, and she just had plans and dreams.
A reckless optimist was her favorite quote.
A reckless optimist.
Yeah, always looking at the bright side of things and always marching forward no matter what.
So later that day, the second Uber driver calls the police.
I called Belmar's dispatcher and explained to him I saw a car on the bridge and I saw, a male. And the dispatcher said, a male, we're not looking for a male, we're looking for a female. So that's where like the first hint of something weird was going on for me.
After the 911 call was put in and police find Sarah Stern's car on the Route 35 bridge, they are frantic to find where she may be, anyone who was with her or who had last seen her. And so they are knocking on doors.
That's who's safe place!
So on this brisk, cold day, I can't even imagine what it's like to be on this bridge for you, and knowing this was the last place your daughter was known to be.
It's always been difficult.
It was so emotional on that bridge with Michael Stern, Sarah's father. It's heartbreaking on so many levels, and his pain is palpable.
It's a feeling of emptiness and hurt.
The Shark River runs underneath this bridge. It's not particularly deep, but it's very dangerous because the current moves quickly. That water ultimately ends up in the Atlantic, which could potentially be important as you look at this case.
By 3:17 a.m., that car is towed off the bridge. That's kind of where the investigation starts. The Neptune City Police goes to Sarah's house on Ridge Terrace.
Is there a dog in here?
There's a really unique element to this case, and a great one, where the police, as they go and interview people, they have body cameras on.
The camera's on, so.
Which really provide a real-time window into exactly what the police are doing, what they're saying, even what they're thinking.
There's a teenager that's supposed to be driving. It's parked on top of that bridge. We're getting no answer at the house. I have an open door at the house. I might go inside and make sure everything's kosher here. I want to make sure we don't have a jumper. Hey, mount yourself real well.
That's who's safe place! Hello?
Hello?
That's who's safe place!
Police go to her house. The back door is open, and the lights are on, and there is no sign of Sarah.
Hello?
The only thing home is her dog Buddy, who she loved more than anything, who normally has his run of the house, and now, when they went to go look for her, he was locked in his crate.
But the dog's in a cage, so somebody put the dog in a cage. Hello? Police department.
She had so much love in her heart for her friends and her family and her dog Buddy. She loved that dog more than anybody I've ever known to love an animal before.
I'm looking for the doggy. Get a good doggy. Treat for the doggy. We called Neptune, but what we found. We went through the whole house. There was nobody home.
Sarah Stern lives with her father, Michael, and so he's somebody logically the police would reach out to, and they quickly realized that he wasn't in town. They found him in Florida on vacation.
Well, they were checking the house. They said, not in the house. Now we're kind of wondering what's going on.
She would never leave without telling me. She would never leave Buddy, the dog.
The dog was in the cage at the house. Her car was found with nobody in it.
Robin Draper is one of the Stern's neighbors. Her daughter Carly and Sarah grew up together.
Okay. She brought over today a bin. Can I bring my mother's stuff to your house?
So she brought a bin of stuff of her mother's to your house?
I said, yes. I'll put it in a cubby. And I tried texting her, and nothing.
We know that at some point, Sarah was taking personal belongings, putting them in bins and distributing them. And on that particular day, the day that Sarah went missing, Liam and Sarah went over to the Draper's house and left off some bins of some of her personal items.
Is she depressed?
I think she's
Is she not suicidal in any way, do you think?
I don't know.
Police quickly find out that she was last seen with one of her best friends.
I said, did anybody get in touch with William McIntyre?
And Sergeant Bradley Hines goes to his apartment and bangs on the door pretty furiously and opens to a groggy Liam who had seemingly just woken up. It was the middle of the night, and is asking him about where is Sarah.
Liam. You Liam? You got a second? Can I come in and talk to you real quick? Yeah, no problem, boss. Is Sarah here by chance? No. When was the last time you talked to her? I was with her today. Turn some light on if you don't mind.
I mean, we went to get food today.
You went to work at what time?
4:30.
Okay, so you haven't talked to her since 4:30? You have a cell phone you can reach out to her on?
I actually haven't been able to find my cell phone.
Any idea where it's
I've
at?
been calling all day.
Liam tells him that they spent the afternoon and the early part of the evening together before he had to go to work at Brennan's Steakhouse, and he hadn't heard from her after that.
What was her mindset last time you talked to her?
I just know she's been trying to get away. She's been telling me she's going to Canada.
Liam starts to tell Sergeant Hines that she has been going through a lot, that her relationship with her father has become somewhat volatile over the last few months, and that she was looking to get out.
Trying to get away, okay. Canada, she's been real depressed lately?
Her dad is crazy.
Okay, and then she's dealing with the loss of her mother.
That she wanted to move to Canada, that she was packing up these things, and she was ready to go.
And he freely shared, yeah, I was just with her last night. She wasn't very happy. She appeared depressed. It appeared like she wanted to leave, wasn't getting along well with her father.
Do you hear anything? Call the Neptune City or Neptune Township Police Department. Let us know. Thank you. Hey, Sergeant Hines, Neptune City. What do you guys have this thing listed as, this car on the bridge? Is it a missing person? Is it... She's been very depressed. Her father's got a new relationship. She's not getting along with her father. It's all kinds of emotional issues with her.
I woke up around 5 a.m. the morning of December 3rd. I heard my mom downstairs on the phone, and she was crying. And she was like, they can't find Sarah. And I was like, what?
It's a sense of hopelessness. You have no idea. Sarah's my only child, and it's a hard feeling that we couldn't find her.
She had just disappeared.
Just vanished.
We were about an hour into the search when we discovered who we were looking for. Kind of sent a tingle down my spine. Sarah was our neighbor for her entire life. I've been on a lot of searches for a lot of people, but this is the first time we were searching for somebody that we knew, so made it a little more difficult.
Liam, I gotta throw something in here, okay? Yeah. You know what's going on here? You know why we're standing here talking to you?
I have a pretty good idea.
We had gone to Liam's mother's house over on Bradley Street here in Neptune City to see if we could locate him and just kind of talk to him about what he might have known.
Early in an investigation, police are trying to rule people out. They're talking to people who maybe they have questions about, want to follow up. The goal is rule this person out as a possible suspect.
The resources that are out there right now looking for her, the amount of manpower. We have people swimming in the Shark River in this cold water. We have boats, we have helicopters. Dude, if you know anything about where this girl is or have had any contact with her, you need to let us know.
Believe me,
and exactly what it was that you had spoken to her about yesterday afternoon before you went your way and she went her way. You need to open up and let this detective know everything. Man.
Did Liam cooperate with police and investigators?
He was willing to talk with police as a friend of hers who was a witness.
We're not even looking at it.
We want to find her and make sure she's safe and okay.
They're just generally trying to get as much information as they can. They ask Liam about, was she ever depressed? Did she say anything to you about where she may be?
Has she been different than normal lately? And for how long?
In the past, she has had a tendency to have self-destructive, suicidal behavior. I actually know that.
How long ago?
Years ago.
Started talking to us about how Sarah was miserable living with her father. She talked about running away to get away from her dad.
Over the past few months, she's been telling me, how bad her relationship with her father is. and how she just needs to get out of here.
Why was it bad? What made it bad?
Fighting.
Arguing,
fighting constantly.
Liam answered every question. I mean, he was explaining and giving great detail about things they had done.
So yesterday you guys wanted to talk about, you dropped stuff off at the Drapers. You want to talk about first or to the Drapers?
Taco Bell first,
then to the
Drapers,
and then you left.
then to her house.
Then to her house.
Hung out. I left.
What time was that around?
4:45.
45.
Yeah.
And then you worked till when?
I worked until 10 o'clock.
Okay.
I was supposed to work until midnight, but I got off at 10 o'clock.
And you just came back here?
Yeah, I went back there.
When the police interviewed Liam, they were able to sort of timeline where Sarah was, because that becomes very important as you try to sort out fact from fantasy in investigating a case.
Who was with you?
My roommate.
Just your roommate?
Yeah.
She didn't come back?
No.
She didn't text you, call you, nothing like that?
I mean, I didn't have my phone, so I wish I could tell you.
Nothing caught me off guard or out of the ordinary in that conversation. Again, you know, Liam, we've said it a couple times. I'm going to throw it at you one more time, dude. We just want to make sure she's okay. Nobody's going to get in any trouble here. We just got to make sure that Sarah's all right.
On December 6th, 2016, Sarah's family organized a civilian search. There were hundreds of people at this search. People from the community, people she had gone to school with, friends of her family, her friends.
Well, it's been a full week since 19-year-old Sarah Stern of Neptune was last seen, and now her family and friends are organizing a search party.
Family going to, if you will, take matters into its own hands, get a search party together.
The entire community, not just in Neptune City, but so many that knew her, friends and family from surrounding communities, all went out searching for her. You had Mr. Stern out there, Sarah Stern's dad, and the McTasney twins, Liam as well as his brother, both participated in it.
She's pretty strong, so hopefully we're gonna find something today.
The detectives did spend time looking at different routes from her house to the bridge to see if we could find surveillance or anything, and there was nothing.
Police are searching for any evidence, and then they think they get a break. They find out there is a surveillance camera under the Route 35 bridge and another camera on the neighboring railroad bridge. So they go out to the scene and they think, yes, we're finally going to see what happened on that bridge that night, only to find out that both of the cameras hadn't been working for years.
You know, unfortunately, we didn't have any cameras that were working on the bridge.
Those may be the only broken cameras in the story because there were a lot of other cameras that were working. Some of the evidence, at least, happened right here because you had a neighbor with a camera.
Right. I knew that they had cameras, but I didn't know if they caught anything. But when I got back Saturday night, we started looking at reviewing the tape and stuff, and we saw Sarah and Liam coming and going during the day.
Sarah Stern's neighbor has a surveillance camera that actually caught Liam leaving late afternoon, which sort of corroborates his story that he was going to work. So much later, after Liam leaves late afternoon, Sarah's car is witnessed with this camera backing out of her driveway, but they can't determine who's actually driving the car.
Her car left that house close to 11:45, and then it ended up on the bridge.
So it is this just pretty much the same thing. Like I said, the detective from the county's gonna come in and talk to you. Hey Liam, thanks for coming in, man. No problem. I'm Brian. I'm a detective with the prosecutor's office. Nice to meet you, Ryan.
The goal of that interview was for me to get to meet Liam and also speak to him directly in an effort to find Sarah.
He was being cooperative with police. He was helping in the search efforts.
He was always cooperative.
He answered all their questions.
Who do you live with, Liam? I live with my roommate, Preston Taylor. Is he friends with Sarah also? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we all went to high school together. Okay. Yeah.
He had been questioned at this point several times and was looking to give any information he could.
What's the extent of your relationship? I would say we're pretty close friends. Was she ever your girlfriend? No.
Sarah's friends and family portray her as this happy-go-lucky girl that never had any reason to say she would hurt herself or hurt someone else. But Liam portrays a different picture.
Does she ever talk about liking guys or, not that I know of, girls? No. She has been known to obsess over girls in the past, though.
He talks about an ex-girlfriend of his, Maggie, who Sarah became obsessed with.
She just would always say stuff like, Maggie, if you don't come here right now, I'm going to kill myself.
During his interview with detectives, Liam also asks them this question.
One thing I want to talk to you guys about was if she did jump off the bridge, what are the odds that she's not somewhere all the way out in the ocean by now?
What kind of question is that?
I don't understand what the fascination is about that particular statement. He's asking a question because this is a boy in a room with two men who are trying to figure out what happened to his best friend.
What was interesting, when he asked the question, he also waved with his hand. He gestured. I found the question very odd. I would have expected him to ask us questions like, what are we doing to find her? Liam didn't ask any of those questions.
Did she tell you she was going to jump off the bridge? No. If she had told me that she was going to jump off the bridge, there would have been no way that I could have gone to work that night. She's just been saying she needs to get away, go to Canada, get away from her dad.
I think Canada was a place that she had been, that she had a great experience at, and it was something that she talked about potentially moving there.
Is she in Canada? I couldn't tell you. I can honestly tell you that. I'm one of her closest friends, and I have no idea why she wouldn't tell me anything before she left. When did you last see Sarah? When I was leaving her house to go to work.
It's interesting because Liam is very chatty in these initial first interviews, but eventually time runs out. He hires a lawyer and he stops talking.
I just thought to reach out to my aunt, who is a lawyer, and she said you really shouldn't have Liam meeting with any detectives or police without a lawyer present.
So your mom contacted an attorney on your behalf, and your dad contacted an attorney on your behalf. We're not going to talk to you any further today. We do appreciate you coming down.
Any good lawyer is going to tell a client, in this situation, stop talking. Don't talk to the police.
Liam McAtasney stops talking with police, and so investigators turn to his friend and his roommate, Preston Taylor, to try and get some answers.
All right. Yeah, thanks for coming down to talk to us. What did Liam tell you about his day that he spent there? So nothing really out of the ordinary.
Everything that Liam had told us, Preston had confirmed. There were no real inconsistencies that they presented.
At one point in the interview, police asked Preston what he thinks happened to Sarah Stern.
What do you think, Sam?
And if you watch and listen closely, you'll hear his voice slightly crack, and his hand reaches up to wipe something from his eye.
It's drunk. Okay, why do you think she jumped? Just from the stories that I've heard about what goes on with her and her dad.
I went down that night and watched his statement. When Brian came out of the statement, he said, something's not right here at all.
I did not have a good feeling about the information that both Liam and Preston had told us. I wasn't satisfied that something didn't happen to her.
Now the police are into a number of days of this investigation. And they don't really know what happened to Sarah. Is she dead? Is she alive? They have no body.
But here's the thing that really gets the detectives' attention. Sarah has a safe deposit box at the bank.
The bank, in and of itself, became a big deal.
It's another day of searching for the New Jersey teen. The search for her remains is focused on the Shark River inlet.
Her car, 1994 Delta 88, was found on the bridge over the Shark River. A reward is now being offered in this case. Of course, police are saying if anyone has any information on the whereabouts of 19-year-old Sarah Stern from Neptune, to please give police a call.
She seemed very happy, and she asked me to hang out that night.
Carly Draper had an encounter with Liam and Sarah the day Sarah went missing.
And she was telling me that she wanted to move to Canada. She hugged me. And I was like, love you. She's like, love you too. And that was the last time I saw her.
As if her disappearance wasn't mysterious enough, it turns out there's another big twist in this case. Sarah appears to have come into a large sum of cash.
Sarah, her family had a second home in Avon by the Sea. A couple months before she disappears, she's with Liam, apparently, and discovers a shoebox full of cash left by her late mother.
She had spent about $10,000 of it and put the rest in a safety deposit box at Carney Bank in Bradley Beach.
In the hours before she disappeared, Sarah went to the bank.
One of her cousins got a message from the assistant manager at the bank who said, just, by the way, Sarah was here yesterday afternoon. That's when the police get told, and then we send the subpoenas and we get the surveillance footage and then the bank records. We, of course, wanted to know what time she accessed the box and what the contents of the box was, if there was anything that had remained in there.
The bank has a two-keyed system, so the bank maintains the key and the customer has a key. Pull the box out, open the box up, and find $25,250 in 20s, 50s, and hundreds. My first thought was, wow, this is a lot of money. And then it was, this is old currency. And it was in a very bad condition.
After finding this money, Sarah immediately called her aunt, Linda Stitley. Linda told her, don't tell anyone about this. Sarah, unfortunately, didn't listen to that advice.
Police learn that she has a safety deposit box with a lot of cash in it. Does that tell them where to go or who the suspect is? No, but certainly something they're going to want to follow up on.
Before Liam had stopped talking, detectives had asked him about the bank.
Liam had failed to tell us that he had gone to the bank with Sarah. Liam had only told us about the fact that they left the house one time.
And Sarah and I talked about, which Taco Bell do you? One Neptune. Okay. Did you eat there? No, we went back to her house. Okay. Did you stay there the whole time after you went back to her house? Yeah. We actually went up in her room and played some video games.
We were able to view surveillance video recordings from captured from across the street. And what we saw was that Sarah and Liam had actually left the house in a car 2 times. So we, of course, were interested in knowing where did they go that second trip.
Did you go to the bank? I I was with her. That's the way back from Taco Bell. Why did she stop at the bank? What did she tell you she was stopping at the bank? Something to do with her money. I don't know. She had found money in the Avon house a few months ago. And, she has a lockbox full of money in there. I don't know. She was taking money out, putting money in there. How much money? I couldn't tell you. She never told me. She said it could be... She told me a range. She said it could be from 20 grand to 100 grand. She wasn't sure. Did she give you any of the money? No.
Police find bank surveillance video of the day Sarah went missing, and she's inside the bank, seemingly very happy, lighthearted. She even waves goodbye to the bank manager, and this is the last time we see her face.
In my mind, it eliminated the possibility that she ran away. You know, at 19 years old, if you have access to $25,000 in cash and you're running away, I would think that you would want to take that with you.
At that point, we had also located her social security card, her passport, as well as Canadian and U.S. currency inside her bedroom. Finding that currency inside of her safety deposit box told us that it was highly unlikely that she would have left.
Police continue to search. There are numerous police departments working on this missing persons case, and they continuously come up with nothing.
We didn't have any answers. No sign of Sarah Stern anywhere, no sign of a body.
My impression is that this would just end up turning into a cold missing persons case. Because we had nothing. No indication that she committed suicide, no indication that she did, in fact, leave the area willingly. No indication that she was murdered.
It definitely never made sense to me. She loved everyone, so for her to leave without a trace and not say goodbye to her friends and family, that's not Sarah. That wasn't Sarah.
Her ability to disappear and move to Canada and create some fake identity was never really plausible. The suicide angle of it was a little bit more believable.
One detective, Brian Weisbrot, told me the first time I met him that he wouldn't stop looking for Sarah. He wouldn't stop until he found out what happened to her.
And then police started to realize that maybe this wasn't a suicide and Sarah didn't run away.
S34! Hello?
This girl that we thought had killed herself. All of a sudden, there was a major break in the case.
The entire theory of our investigation changed right then and there.
I got a call one night. Those detectives just sit down, we want to tell you something.
And the person who turns this whole case upside down, jumping right out of the Neptune High yearbook, fittingly voted most likely to become famous. The young filmmaker is about to become responsible for one of the most chilling videos you'll ever see. When you saw the video, what was your reaction?
First thing I thought is how Michael Stern's gonna feel about this when he finds out exactly how his daughter died.
I've been describing it as pure evil.
This was the last place your daughter was known to be.
There's this 19-year-old girl who has gone off the grid and no one knows why.
She either might have committed suicide or she had run away and wanted to stage her suicide.
We have helicopters. Dude, if you know anything about where this girl is or have had any contact with her, you need to let us know.
I'm one of her closest friends, and I have no idea.
There's nowhere to hide, you're in too deep.
She discovers a shoebox full of cash.
She, in a way, sealed her fate with this money.
The worst part of it is I thought I was walking out 50 grand, 100 grand in my pocket.
That was not Liam to me. That was an act.
He was doing an audition.
That wasn't no movie audition. That's real life.
Hey, police department.
Pure evil.
What, are you gonna live some foreign-ass life?
It's almost 2 months since Sarah's gone missing. Her car's been found. But no other real sign of her. And no concrete leads.
Can you describe for me as a father what it was like during those 2 months, the not knowing?
It's horrible. It's a sense of hopelessness. When you have no idea. Sarah's my only child. And, it's a hard feeling that we couldn't find her.
Michael Stern was trying to find his daughter, was very persistent. Michael Stern was not sitting by without checking in with law enforcement and demanding to know what we were doing.
It's breaking my heart not to know where she's at.
Police have hit a wall. Until they get a phone call from a former classmate, someone who went to high school with Sarah Stern, and he has quite the information to share.
Anthony Curry is an aspiring film director, and he went to high school with Liam and Sarah.
So tell me when you first became friends with Liam.
We didn't get real close till like junior year of high school. He liked The Sopranos, we played music together.
Why did you go to police?
Just doing the right thing.
Anthony told us that he had wanted to talk to us about the information that he had. Anthony had told us that on Thanksgiving evening, which was November 24th, that he had went to Liam's house in Neptune City, and while there, Liam had informed him that what he planned to do to Sarah Stern.
He tells you it's an idea for a movie.
Yeah. I make movies. I'm a filmmaker. He used to tell me ideas all the time about, films I should make and all that stuff. And he told me about this idea he had to kill this girl. He was gonna strangle her and throw her over the bridge with his friend.
Did he seem excited about this idea?
Yeah, he was like, he was an energetic kid. I was like, yeah, he's a little nuts, but I don't know, I just thought it was a movie.
What are the chances that Matt Katasny would float this story earlier and then Sarah Stern would end up being murdered in precisely the same terms?
So Anthony doesn't really give it another thought until it comes up on social media or the news that she's missing.
If anyone has any information on the whereabouts of 19-year-old Sarah Stern from Neptune, to please give police a call.
January 2017, he had started receiving Snapchat messages from Liam McAtasney.
How often was he trying to contact you when Sarah went missing?
Almost every day.
What was he texting you? What was he saying to you?
That he wanted to see me. That it was urgent.
We saw Anthony Curry's demeanor when he provided us with the information. We saw the concern that he had. He was scared. He was scared.
Did you feel like your life was in danger at all?
If somebody's capable of doing that, you could try to hurt my family or somebody I knew.
So police hatch a plan to catch Liam McAtasny, and they cast Anthony Curry in the starring role.
Detectives equip his car with a video recording device, and this is going to be their sting operation.
For Anthony Curry, this is a risky move. He is making up a story about why he needs to meet with Liam. Everyone's got to be nervous about this meeting.
The person's car you wired usually has to drive a distance. They'll sing, they'll hum, they'll turn on the radio. They're nervous. I mean, this is a big deal. They're actually going to try to get a person to talk about a murder they committed.
Liam had traveled in his own car, parked his vehicle in a parking space several down from Anthony, and had gotten into Anthony's car.
Good, man.
We were listening live through electronic equipment.
You want a cigarette? Nah, I'm good. I quit the.
Were they telling you what to say?
They did say, you gotta act sort of like Donnie Brasco. You gotta, you gotta ask him questions.
As soon as he got there.
You felt me down for a while.
Dude, you can't blame me for doing this, right? I gotta feel you up real quick, alright? No disrespect.
What were you thinking then when he did that?
It's real.
And he just spills his guts.
I didn't really have to do much work. Like, he wanted to tell me, you know? I think he wanted to get it off his chest.
Yeah, I got the FBI on my ass, dude. About what? About killing Sarah. They were up my ass. First it was just normal police. They were on my ass, and I had to go in and get interrogated by them multiple times. But then it kept moving up levels, and now it's a federal case. That's not even the worst part. The worst part of it is I thought I was walking out 50 grand, 100 grand in my pocket. She had one safe, and she took money out, and she only had 10 grand. And this money, I don't know if it was burnt or something. It's old money, terrible quality. I don't even know if I can put any of it in the bank. So what, do you have it hidden? Yeah. Where'd you hide it? Sandy Hook. First it was at my house for a long time, but then I stopped trusting Preston. We threw her off the bridge.
Not only does he implicate himself in this, but he mentions somebody else who helps him dispose of the body. Police didn't know about that. They didn't even suspect that.
She goes to walk out the front door. I choke her out, drag her. My biggest problem was the dog, and her dog laid there and watched as I killed her. Didn't do anything. Dog.
I'll never forget the way that he talks about how her dog just laid there as I killed her. That was, to me, the most disturbing thing I'd ever heard in my life.
I picked her up and had her just like dangling off the ground, and she just pissed herself and you lose control of said my name, and then that was it. And it took me a half an hour to kill her. I thought I was going to be able to choke her out and have her out in like a couple minutes.
It's heartbreaking in a sense, you know? Somebody who's your good friend, you don't think they would do something like that. As an innocent person, you know? It's disappointing.
I got a shirt and I just shoved it down her throat so she wouldn't throw up or anything, and held my finger over her nose and set a timer.
It was nauseating how anyone could talk the way Liam spoke about Sarah and Sarah's death. Was very disturbing.
You are the only person on this planet that knows, besides Preston. And Preston doesn't know that you know.
You're not no rat, bro.
It could be anyone. And I don't want Preston to think that he has to kill you and take you out because you are the only person that knows. Yeah. And I didn't get a lot of money, but I had enough money to just be like living comfortably in my house, throwing parties all the time.
The most egregious thing that I heard was how Liam said he didn't feel any different after doing this.
What, are you gonna live some boring life?
What were you thinking?
He did a terrible thing. That's really all there is to it. He did a terrible thing.
When you saw the video, what was your reaction?
My head hung. I have children. The first thing I thought is how Michael Stern's going to feel about this when he finds out exactly how his daughter died. The second thing I thought, being a career prosecutor, is this great evidence.
It's good talking to you, bro. Good talking. Take it easy, bro. Safe travels, eh?
You too.
You got everything?
Yeah.
All right, peace out.
Detectives in Monmouth County, New Jersey have just recorded what they say is an undeniable confession to murder.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? You want a cigarette? Nah, I'm good. I quit the...
After the consensual recording had concluded, we listened to the recording that night.
I choked her out, and then she was just laying there having a seizure or something.
He literally gives a blow by blow of how he killed her, where he killed her, how long it took him to kill her.
and it took me a half an hour to kill her.
How they moved the body, where they hid the money.
First it was in my house for a long time, but then I stopped trusting Preston.
He also mentions his roommate and his partner in crime, Preston Taylor.
And then I had to go straight to work, so Preston came over, took the body, put it in the bushes.
We made a decision to locate Preston first. We had learned that Preston would be traveling to Brookdale Community College in Lincroft. We had conducted a motor vehicle stop of his vehicle, and once we stopped his car, we transported him to the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office.
We know what happened to Sarah. We know what your involvement in it was. All right? We want to know why Liam did what he did. What did he do? He killed Sarah. Okay? You know that? Correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I don't know if I've ever seen anyone confess that quickly. I mean, that's really the reality of what happened with Preston Taylor. And then he just goes on for, 52 pages or something in a transcript of describing everything that they did.
I got home just as he was getting ready to run out the door for work. He was like, dude, I did it.
What did you take that to mean?
I told him that he killed Sarah.
Okay.
He said that her body was still at the house, and that he needs to give her lives back.
Preston takes police back to what he says is the scene of the crime, Sarah Stern's house, and he reenacts what he says he and Liam did that night.
We're here for the purpose of doing a walkthrough of Sarah Stern's residence, is that correct?
Correct.
I mean, it's powerful. He was willing to go back there to this place where he had done some pretty awful things and show the detectives how they did this and how they did that.
This door was closed. This one I couldn't get open, but I was able to push this one open, enter, and Sarah was slumped in this corner right here. She was sitting like this, tucked into the corner and leaning over the toilet.
So Liam has Preston go back to Sarah's house and move Sarah out of the house to the bushes.
Just show us how you were positioned when you were taking her out.
She was been facing away, and I had my arms under her shoulders like this.
So with her feet dragging on the ground?
Yeah. And then I carried her over here and kind of sat her under the bushes right here.
It's interesting because he's basically like a flat line. It comes across as very matter-of-fact and cold as to, exactly what they're doing, which is a very, very gruesome crime.
Now, why did Liam come back here with you? What was your purpose in being here?
To move Sarah's body to.
Okay.
Liam went inside the house to get the safe. He gave me the safe.
Okay.
And I put the safe back over by where we jumped the fence.
Okay. They dragged Sarah's body out from under the bushes, drag her to a fence.
It almost brings you back to that point where you can see him dragging her, and they just toss her over like nothing.
Hoisted her up and over, threw the safe over, the two of us jumped over, and I got in my vehicle, and Liam got in Sarah's vehicle.
He only took responsibility for assisting with disposing of Sarah's body over the bridge, but he was very cooperative in the fact that he had taken us to multiple locations where the safes were buried.
Where is that safe now?
Buried in Charlie Wood.
Did you bury it or did Liam bury it?
Liam buried it.
Liam did? With the money?
Right.
Where's the money?
One's another safe.
Preston had reviewed some maps and was able to identify general areas where these safes were buried.
Detective Weisbrot had called me and said, hey, you wouldn't believe this, but we got some new information on the Sarah Stern case. This is what's going on. This is where you need to go. We ended up caravanning to Sandy Hook.
Once we had traveled to Sandy Hook, he had directed us to the lighthouse, and the location where the safe was buried was just east of the lighthouse.
The area that safe was buried, it was pretty nondescript. It was all overgrown. So as we were going down, we'd stop, photograph some more video.
Preston was handcuffed and shackled, and he was directing the forensic detectives as to where the safe was buried.
We just happened to look just a little bit to the left of where we were digging, and there's the corner of the safe just sticking out of the ground.
So detectives find, buried in the dirt, a small gray Sentry safe with the number 002 stamped on it. And just a short time later, another set of police officers make the arrest of Liam McAtasney, and they search his car.
And on his keychain, he had a Sentry safe key, and on the back side of it had 002.
The fact that Liam had the safe key for the safe that was buried with Sarah's money in Sandy Hook is an amazing piece of evidence. And lo and behold, he used one of them to open the safe.
And then inside the safe was $9,350 in cash, 100s, 50s, and 20s.
Police now have enough evidence to charge Liam with murder.
I just want to go over a couple things with you. Obviously, you know you're under arrest, right, Liam? Yeah. Okay. Liam is arrested while we are with Preston. We had went in and made an effort to speak to him. We had asked him if he was retained by an attorney, and he had indicated that he was. As a result of that, we did not interview Liam at that point. Okay.
I'd rather not speak to anyone.
Okay, perfect. Great. Thank you very much.
Walked in, and the detectives, they were there, and just sit down, we want to tell you something.
This was someone who said he loved Sarah, was in your home.
That was not Liam to me describing an actual murder.
I had planned Sarah's situation for me to be interrogated by cops.
That was an act.
What are they watching if not a confession?
He was making things up, trying to impress that horror film director.
Bro, this is like a movie.
It's now exactly 2 months to the day since police found Sarah Stern's abandoned car up on that bridge. She seemingly had vanished without a trace.
This girl that we thought had killed herself. All of a sudden, there was a major break in the case. 2 people have been arrested for the murder of Sarah Stern.
And they are not just 2 random people, they are 2 people who grew up with her and knew her well, Liam McAtasney and Preston Taylor. They were childhood friends.
I came home from work and I started making dinner, and I noticed there was a bright light coming from my backyard, and I looked at the back window and I thought Liam and his friends were shooting a movie or a video, and I decided to go back there and say hi to everybody. And then a detective yelled at me to stand back, and at that point I realized that people were going through my son's trash. They had gloves on. They were raiding my son's home. I asked where my son was, and I was told, Liam, you have to get back.
It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, small house. The living room, kitchen, dining room, all one area. Liam's bedroom was pretty neat and orderly. Preston's, on the other hand, was not. There was nothing of any significance found. Typical teenager, a lot of booze around and things like that.
So while all of this is going on, Liam's mom, Megan McAtasney, has no idea where her son is. She hasn't been in communication with him. She can't talk to him, and she's not getting any answers from police.
It's 2:33 a.m. that I got the call and was told what Liam was being charged with, and my head was just spinning because I didn't understand what was happening. I grew up at the beach. And when somebody goes in the water, they wash up somewhere. And when Sarah had not washed up onto any of our shores, it gave us hope that Sarah had maybe run away. And so in my head, I was thinking that Sarah needed to get away. And for some reason, she felt she couldn't tell any of us. And that's why she was moving all of her belongings into different people that she trusts homes. And that's why she had gone to the bank. And all of these things were making sense. And for whatever reason, she felt she couldn't tell us. And that's what I had been thinking up until that moment, so I didn't understand why my son was being charged.
I got a call. I wasn't home, and they said, well, we'd like to talk to you at the house. The detectives, the police department, they were there, and they said, just sit down, we want to tell you something. And
that was not the news you wanted to hear.
And that was after the taped confession that they had. And I actually didn't hear that. They just told me what was on there, and they said it was just, you don't want to hear the details.
Even though prosecutors have this so-called confession tape by Liam McAtasney, they still want that ace in the hole.
To be able to put on the only other person that saw her dead body prior to putting her in the water, like, I just thought that was important.
So Preston Taylor takes police on another field trip. This time to the Route 35 bridge. It's the last known place Sarah Stern's body ever was.
Now I'm pulling my vehicle off to the shoulder of the roadway. Is this the area where the car was parked?
No, a little further up.
We wanted to bring Preston to the bridge so he could identify the exact location where they threw her over the bridge. We had put a life jacket on Preston Taylor. We wanted to ensure that we took all necessary safety precautions in the event that something were to happen on the bridge.
Liam was going to throw the body over himself and then run across and jump over the median and get in the passenger seat of my car, but he wasn't strong enough to pull Sarah up and over himself. So he radioed me on the walkie-talkie and told me to loop around and to come help me get her over. Liam had her by the shoulders and hoisted her up onto the railing, and then I pushed her feet over so that she was going over the rest of the way. We heard a loud metallic bang, and that was all.
And so they decide to make a deal with Preston Taylor to turn his testimony against Liam.
Pleading guilty to counts 2 through 7 of the accusation. Is that correct? Yes, sir.
Preston Taylor accepted responsibility, agreed to cooperate with the state. He pled guilty to disposing of Sarah's remains.
Preston wishes he had acted differently. Preston has cried with me. Preston has now tried what he could to try to atone for himself. He knows whatever he does, he can't bring her back.
Preston, I always thought of him as a storyteller. I never thought him to be credible. So to see him confessing towards Liam, I didn't believe it. None of it made sense to me.
I don't have anything nice to say about Preston.
We sat down and spoke with Liam's mom about the case and about watching that chilling videotape, that so-called confession that her son made.
And it took me a half an hour to kill her. I thought I was going to be able to choke her out and have her out in like a couple minutes.
Liam doesn't speak about things lightheartedly. That was not Liam, to me, describing an actual murder. That's not the tone Liam uses when he speaks about something serious. It was an act.
He was doing an audition. He was making things up, trying to impress that horror film director.
They were making movies together. Liam was writing scripts for him. Liam was going to star in some of Anthony's movies.
That wasn't no movie audition. That's real life. Trust me, I worked in film for years. I know the difference between reality and fiction. That's reality.
What did you make of the defense's assertion that Liam was auditioning? He was acting and not confessing on that tape.
I don't even know how, unless you go into total fiction. That's all that was. I don't know what he was auditioning for. The only movie being made was that videotape describing a horrible murder.
Does Liam deny having that conversation with him earlier around the Thanksgiving time?
He absolutely denies that. I think that Anthony Curry, he is pointing the finger at my client and trying to make stories up so that he can better his career because it's not that great.
Did Liam McAtasney, your client, kill Sarah Stern and throw her body over the Route 35 bridge?
No. And I can say that because just based on the evidence that we have, he's maintained his innocence from the beginning.
This has seriously affected our entire family. And poor Mike Stern doesn't know where his daughter is. I mean, everybody is affected by this. This is a horrible, horrible, horrible situation. And we still can't find Sarah. We don't know where Sarah is. Just stopped looking.
I'm here because I want justice for Liam and I want justice for Sarah Stern. There's not enough pieces to put together to make heads or tails of anything. And the fact that Sarah just disappeared and no body's been recovered or anything is just, it's terrifying.
In every bone in my body, I do not believe Liam is capable of killing Sarah Stern, who he loved and adored. I do not believe Liam is capable of killing anybody.
But what really matters is what those 12 jurors who are about to hear the entire case, what will they believe?
This is the trial of the matter, State of New Jersey versus Liam McIntyre.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Stern will not be walking through those doors into this courtroom at any point. Her friends and family will never get to enjoy her company, her smile, her laugh. That's not because she disappeared to Canada. It's because this defendant murdered her.
You are going to hear that Sarah Stern wanted to leave New Jersey, that she wanted to get away, not only from her dad, but the entire state. You will find her not guilty.
So the prosecution comes out swinging. Its first witness is Liam's friend, Preston Taylor.
It was the type of money that somebody would kill for.
Part of the big headline was that Preston Taylor went to the prom with Sarah Stern.
Do you guys ever begin to talk about specific plans about this money?
Yes.
He ultimately admitted to having a large role in all this.
It started off as plans to either burglarize her house or to rob her personally. Over time, the conversations progressed to killing her in order to obtain the money.
You were part of these conversations, correct?
Yeah. Specifically decided that Liam was strangling her.
And is that the person that you, Mr. McIntyre, threw off the bridge then?
Yes.
The key for prosecutors here was ruling out the two other possibilities. That she fled to Canada or that she committed suicide. And they called witnesses to try to prove she wasn't suicidal and she wasn't going to Canada.
They told her she couldn't run off without a plan. She needed to save some money.
Do you have any reason to believe that she was sad or depressed?
Absolutely not.
There was a real heartfelt moment at court when the bank manager took the stand and talked about his last exchange with Sarah Stern on the day she went missing, and it was an emotional moment that everyone in the courtroom felt.
Do you remember seeing Sarah on that day?
I do. We were a kiss, waved goodbye.
And what did you say to her?
I said I love you. Because we have that friendship.
Testimony resumed this morning in the Sarah Stern murder trial. Stern's father testified about her sudden disappearance. Her remains have never been found.
At some point on December 2nd, do you receive a phone call from somebody in New Jersey?
Yeah, I got a call from my mother, who said she hadn't been able to get in touch with Sarah for the whole day.
So what do you do?
I sent her a text. Sent another text, hello. Sent another text that says, Sarah, what's going on?
What was it like being up on the stand?
It's a little nerve-wracking, but I had to be there.
You took the stand, and you could look right at Liam from where you were testifying. Did you look him in the eye?
I tried, he wouldn't look at me. I looked at him, and he just stared away. Sociopath? Obviously. Evil? Definitely.
Part of the evidence that was presented at trial were text messages Michael Stern was sharing when he first realized his daughter went missing, and you could see the panic he was experiencing during those moments.
And then I sent another one right after that says, call me as soon as you get this message in caps.
Are you starting to get nervous?
Yes.
All right, on December 3rd at 12:30, do you text her again?
Yeah, I sent another message that said, call me with a couple exclamation points.
Did she answer?
When you interview people, one of the important things to understand is, do they have agendas in telling you a particular bent to a story?
I've been friends with her since first grade, so we have a pretty good friendship.
he wanted to picture Sarah as having this abusive relationship with her father.
I know she definitely has a lot of trust issues with her dad.
And then if you look at the text messages the police found, her relationship with her father was nothing like Liam had painted it.
Hey, Dad, good afternoon. What day are you coming back from Florida? And there's a waving hand, sunglasses on a smiley face, a palm tree, and a little red car. I sent her a picture of a rainbow that had just appeared right around that time.
You sent her a second picture?
It's a picture at the castle in the Magic Kingdom that night.
What did she say?
Well, with an exclamation point, the castle looks so pretty with the lights, and there's a star and a shooting star emoji after that.
Is that the last time your daughter had contact with your daughter?
Yes.
I think being able to present their relationship was also very, very important because it takes away from that notion that this little girl would disappear because her father was so horrific she had no other choice.
The defense's strongest argument is that some of the details don't match with some of the evidence.
There was no vomit recovered from the interior of the house, correct?
Yes, sir.
And there was no urine recovered from the interior of the house, correct?
Yes, sir.
It's a very typical defense argument, which is not everything fits. The problem for the defense is that if you look at it in its whole, together, it all does kind of fit.
The biggest hurdle for the prosecution to overcome? There's no body. And then in the 11th hour, the defense calls an eyewitness.
There's a picture of a girl. That's it, son. That's who we saw.
And his testimony could turn this case upside down.
Michael, I'm so sorry that Sarah's still missing. I can't imagine being alone and not knowing where my child was.
Testimony resumed this morning in the Sarah Stern murder trial.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Why are you here?
Doing the right thing.
Anthony Curry seemed like a reluctant but incredibly important witness.
Anthony Curry says that he goes to Liam McIntyre's house at approximately 11 o'clock on Thanksgiving night. And all of a sudden, Liam turns to him and says, "Hey, I got a great idea."
He told me he was going to, Sarah, she found some money, and they were going to count it together. He was going to choke her out, bring her to the bridge, throw her off. Preston was going to drive the escape vehicle, and they were going to bury the money. And leave the keys and the ignition and make it look like she killed herself. He said it would be a great idea for a movie.
Did you think he was serious?
No.
He is this sort of artsy guy who didn't have any real interest in implicating his friend, but when he sees what's happening, decides to do the right thing.
Now, when you meet with police, what did you specifically agree to do?
The recording device in the car.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would like permission to play for Exhibit 2.
Okay. The worst part is we threw her off the bridge, and the body never showed up.
I want to ask you this isn't just a stranger. This was someone who said he loved Sarah, was a part of her life, someone you trusted. How do you reconcile the Liam you thought you knew with the person who was sitting in that courtroom?
There's nothing I can say that would make me feel good about knowing what happened and that he did it. And his callous and cavalier attitude of how he described to his friend Anthony Curry what happened is, I can't imagine it happening to anybody. She called out his name because I guess she didn't know what was going on. He just choked the life out of her.
Having Liam talk about this to Anthony Curry and presenting that to the jury is about as incriminating a piece of evidence as you can have. There's a reason that Sarah Stern's father breaks down in court when the video is played.
I spent 5 years in sex crimes, so I had horrific cases. I have never, ever seen a piece of evidence or heard an individual be so dismissive of another human being's life that it was overwhelming.
Do you think it was brave what Anthony Curry did?
I think so. It was a tough decision for him. He didn't have to come forward. Changed his life, too. Had he not come forward, we probably never would have got an answer.
People are like, do you think he's a hero? Absolutely, he is. Because he put himself in a situation where if Liam had shown up with a gun, even though the detectives were across the street, they would not have been able to save him. And he appreciated that and still did the right thing.
In the 11th hour, the defense calls an eyewitness, and his testimony could turn this case upside down.
The defense is called Craig Hetzel Sr.
A local contractor, Craig Hetzel, says as he was driving his son to work in the wee hours of the morning, he says he saw Sarah Stern, and he says he's 100% sure.
If Craig Hetzel's right, that he saw Sarah 12 hours after the time she was supposedly killed, that's an incredibly powerful piece of evidence for the defense.
There was a girl walking down the street. I said to my son, I said, that is an awfully good-looking girl to be walking on the street at 5 o'clock in the morning. I got a good look right in her face, stared right into her eyes the way I'm looking at you right now, and she turned her head that way and ducked down an alleyway. A couple days later, there was a picture of a girl. I said to my son, I said, that's who we saw. That's who I saw that day.
How sure are you that that is the same person?
In my mind, no doubt.
The problem is the details of his story start to change. First he says he saw Sarah Stern Friday morning, and then it's Saturday morning.
There was definitely something to be skeptical about. I don't even know if it's worth speculating on why. It just, to me, factually, it is inaccurate.
The Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office investigated this case. They did not find any signs of a struggle inside that residence that would corroborate what he's saying, what he's making up. It's a story or it's a movie makes no sense. This was the ultimate cheap shot. Sarah had plans. She wasn't killing herself. Their intention was to rob her, but they knew that in order to rob her, they were prepared to kill her. She's lying there having a seizure. He puts his finger over her nose and he ends her life. That, ladies and gentlemen, is murder.
It's now been 6 weeks. Closing arguments are in. The judge has instructed the jury. And now, the people impacted most, the defendant, his family, the victim's family, have to wait for the verdict.
Sarah was committed to her art, to fun, to her friends and family. She had a real talent for creating art. It was her calling, it was her gift. She would call it practicing reckless optimism.
She did these beautiful drawings that she would gift to people, and then she would light up from their reactions to her artwork.
Talking with Michael Stern, she was so real to him, and her artwork is still there, and through her artwork, Sarah lives on with Michael. So this is just coming in, an email from the courthouse, and Liam McAtasney has been found guilty of murder.
We begin with breaking news. A guilty verdict in the Sarah Stern murder trial. Liam McAtasney now facing life in prison.
Can you find us count one of the indictment as to whether the defendant, Liam McAtasney, committed the crime of murder by purposely or knowingly causing the death of Sarah Stern? Guilty.
I remember sitting there and I just kept hearing guilty, guilty, guilty. And then you're like, okay, great. Like, he won't be out in the world to go harm any other people. But you're like, Sarah's still gone. She's never gonna come back.
Today, the family has finally gotten justice.
On count 1, murder in the first degree, it's life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.
21-year-old Liam McIntasney will spend the rest of his life behind bars. He said nothing, but was visibly sobbing in court.
He has no remorse. His tears today are fake and insulting to everybody who lives through this homicide.
Accomplice Preston Taylor given 18 years for helping Liam dispose of Sarah Stern's body.
This just ends the last chapter in the book that is the notorious killer that Liam McIntasney is.
What would you say to Liam McIntasney if he were sitting here?
You're an evil person. You shouldn't exist on this earth. It plays in my mind what happened over and over again. How many times can you watch your daughter die?
I know that you visit the bridge. You have a memorial there for Sarah.
It's my daughter. Smart kid, good kid.
So how do you want the world to remember Sarah Stern?
As an artist, a friend that was just, a good person. She was just a wonderful, wonderful child.
कोई चावल रत्ना दे असी माया टुर जाना तुसी मालक वतना दे असी माया टुर जाना असी माया टुर जाना तुसी मालक वतना दे लवे मोरोंदा तेरे पीछे कानू रुल दे जे कोई तेरे जे आयो रोंदा तेरे पीछे कानू रुल दे तेरे पीछे कानू रुल दे जे कोई तेरे जे आयो रोंदा कड़े उत्ते जा बैठा आया सी मेहमान जना डोला अखियां वेला बैठा आया सी मेहमान जना आया सी मेहमान जना डोला अखियां वेला बैठा हाल फकीरां दा दिल नूं वे चंगा लगदा एक वाई कश्मीरां दा दिल नूं चंगा लगदा दिल नूं वे चंगा लगदा एक वाई कश्मीरां दा सब चिलसा जिंदगी ते मेल चना रही जिंदगी ते फिर मिलसा जिंदगी ते मेल चना जिंदगी ते मेल चना रही जिंदगी ते फिर मिलसा दुनिया दे काले नी असी हुण टुर वचले तुसी रब दे हवाले नी असी हुण टुर वचले असी हुण टुर वचले तुसी रब दे हवाले नी कोई चावल रत्ना दे असी माया टुर जाना तुसी मालक वतना दे असी माया टुर जाना असी माया टुर जाना तुसी मालक वतना दे लवे मोरोंदा तेरे पीछे कानू रुल दे जे कोई तेरे जे आयो रोंदा तेरे पीछे कानू रुल दे तेरे पीछे कानू रुल दे जे कोई तेरे जे आयो रोंदा कड़े उत्ते जा बैठा आया सी मेहमान जना डोला अखियां वेला बैठा आया सी मेहमान जना आया सी मेहमान